Hello all, good evening. We are back with some more League of Europe action for you. It's been a few days, so I think we're all getting withdrawal symptoms. We're here for round one of season two of Endure, the 2022-2023 season of Endure, back for a second innings because it was so successful the first time round. It's myself, Killer Blue 295 in the commentary box. I don't know why I had to look at my phone to check that. I'm joined by Mr. Relentless himself, Ariel Jacob. How are you, my freshly re-teamed colleague?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, my also freshly re-teamed colleague?
Yes, of course. I introduced myself as Killer Blue 295 because that is a brand. I am a brand. I am me. QBR Killer is the side hoe. I am Killer Blue 295. Let me talk you through the format for today's proceedings and the proceedings thereafter. 11 rounds to come after today. This is the first of a 12-round championship. 60 points available for the win. 52 for second, 46 for third, 40, then 35, 30, blah, 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 down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. For 16th to 20th position, so there's points available for every place, and also worth noting there's a point available for each lap completed. So today I want to say there's 118 points available, but we'll see how many points there are, or laps there are when we get there. It's Nathan Grr 63 also of QVR, having completed the trifecta of QVR, XL, and Relentless, the Holy Trinity of League of Europe. He's our first man out on track, and while he gets around on the outlet, let me talk you through the team pairings for this evening, because it's realistic performance, of course, if you are new to Endure, and if you are, thank you for tuning in. So we have got Harry Noir and Jay Hings in the Ferrari. We've got Ariel Farrell Fury and California 5 in the Red Bull. Maverick and They Hate Melty in the Mercedes. QRT Timon and URL Chris in Alfa Romeo. DTR Brent and RJW Videos in McLaren. Luke 05 and Larkin in the Alpine, Nathan and the Car Mentalist, an incendiary combination in the Alpha Tauri, Rocco and Verstappen in the Haas, Pease and Gary in the Aston, Campbell and Wouter in the Williams. And I will take you through a lap of this reprofiled Albert Park circuit while my man J. Cole just scrams his Chinese. So let's go on board with Nathan there, barreling towards turn one, nearly 290 kilometres an hour, and he's gone invalid on the exit there. So let's jump on to QVR of Verstappen instead, now towards turn three. Turn three, the curve on the inside has been freshened up slightly, a new look of paint there with that orange sausage curve, but otherwise it's largely as it was, slightly more open on the exit. Turn 4, easy to catch you out. Turn 5 as well. Sometimes you kind of want to stick through there. The rear can just stick out on you. If you're running too low, right out the car bottoms out. Turn 6 is much easier than it used to be. Turns 9 and 10, as they were, have been eliminated. So this, what we're approaching now, is the new turn design for the infamous Melbourne chicane. You want to spot your turn-in point, flick it in, down 2 gears for Verstappen in that Haas car, and keeps it nice and tight on the exit. He's on for a very solid first effort here. Turn 11 is a lot sharper, later on the brakes here, much more of an overtaking opportunity. Wide on the exit, the track seems to pinch up on the entry that just can catch you out a little bit, and then turns 12, 13, following quick session 13 has been open slightly as well. There has been some lovely positive camber added to turn 14. That's the last corner of the lap. Short run to the line, and Verstappen blesses us with a 118.5. Campbell goes a tenth and a half adrift, and let me throw it over to J. Cole and say, who is your money on this evening? Not that you're at all the betting man, but where would it be heading?
I'll tell you now, Jake, I do gamble a lot more than what you probably think. But
This
I'll
man,
probably have to see.
this man puts an acca on every Saturday, I'm sure. California has a 5-second penalty for colliding with Nathan, and Nathan has died at turn 2. Completely unexpected. Yeah, I mean, well, it's not unexpected that someone would die at turn 2. Unexpected that Nathan would do so. Just hopped on board with They Hate Melty there, and he had to have a couple of bites at turning into turn 1, turned out, then turned back in again. Where our lap times coming from? Commentated and Jay Hings have had mediocre first efforts. QVR Verstappen in the house looking very good. Rocco is there 6/10 off his teammates' pace, so Rocco struggling a little bit there. And you can really see where the camera's been out of turn 1. The track really leans towards the corner. Nathan has left the session, so a man not in the mood particularly for a race this evening, it seems. In California, for his troubles, has picked up a 5-place penalty, and he's missing a front wing. Gary is invalid, and Farrell Fury is just starting a lap. Larkin's in the pits. Wouter, let's go on board with the Division 1 man. I think he's on a slow lap because he is derating away there. His light is flashing. RJ is in 3rd place. Impressive lap from the McLaren URL. Chris's that has popped into 6th place as well. I'm struggling to see where the times are coming from. I'm just wobbling. It was Timon. The other Alfa Romeo has gone a 120.2 there. We've got Mercedes crossing the line. That is Melty, goes 4th on a 119.2. The Mercedes, the 3rd quickest car in the game. Of course, we've got Ferrari across the line. No, it's not. It's Jay King's coming into the pit lane. So I think we've only got Farrell Fury and Wouter on laps, and Wouter wasn't even on a lap. As I said, his DRS was turned off. He's coming into the pit, so it's just Farrell to come, and then our first runs are completed. And J. Cole, we've got a hell of a lot of invalidations there, it seems.
Yeah, we certainly do. In fact, actually, the one that's furthest ahead is actually Hanwag in the Ferrari. He did a 28.3. He's just gone up into P2 on his second time around with an 18.675. So the Greekman doing quite well in Ferrari so far. Good solid starter lap for him. Just slotting in between the two QVR pairing. A bit of an interesting thing though, Jake. I have got Verstappen's stream open on my other monitor.
Can I guess what you're going to say?
In the race.
Oh, I was going to say it's raining in the race because it was a minute before we saw any car out on track, so I thought they all must be hastily changing their setups, and then I was too busy talking about some other shite to remember to say that. But yeah, I thought it, but I didn't say it, so yeah. We've got Daka says hi in chat. I was about to say, actually, he just said the Greekman, Jack Colville. We should have a discussion about the demonology of the tendency to the practice of where people come from. So words like American Englishman. Can you call people Greek men and Greek women, or is it just Greek? I don't know. That's like America. Do you get called American men? Probably not. I mean, that sounds like my nightmare, to be in a room with an American man. See, this is the energy we bring to Endure Commentary. There's 9 of you watching. Thank you, all of you who are in. Hopefully none of you have the sound turned off, because it's pure gold in the comm box right now. URL Chris has left the session. Ariel Pease is going for a lap, and look at that. Look at the way the track leans in, as I said, towards turn 1. That looked really nice and hooked up from P sporting a green helmet, although he is a P, so maybe P's do sprout. Living up to his namesake there. The green P in a green car, and he's coming through the first sector now. I've no idea what a good time is, but he's on a 27.2. Really cranks the car into turn 6. That looked nice and aggressive from Pease as well. Aston Martin's second slowest car in the performance charts. Only worst, beaten in how terrible it is by the Williams, and through the middle sector that's 45.1. The game's saying Pease has gone purple. I don't believe it, because this game is not coded correctly. Just the last sector to go. We've got a spinner at turn 1. That's one of the Mercedes cars. I want to say that is They Hate Melty, who I think is our sole Mercedes driver this evening. Chris is back with us. That's lovely to see. And Pease, just 2 corners to go now to complete his lap. and it looked like he went a touch deep through 13. Man keeps it nicely in play through 14, then just the burst to the line, and he goes P7. Not at all a bad effort from P, considering, especially considering his teammate QVR Gary went invalid on his first attempt there.
Yeah, no, it certainly is, and we'll stick on board with Gary. And as I was saying, that he goes for a spin out of turn number 10. Luckily, did not get or did not damage his wheel, or I didn't end up retiring from the session. But spinner for Gary, he does like this Australian brag, so I think he might feel a little bit let down that he has just done that all on his own through turn number 10. I was just watching on board with Campbell as well, just before you was on board with Pease. He went purple in Sector 1 and Sector 2, as the other QVR driver of Verstappen goes up onto pole so far with an 18.103. But yeah, speaking about Campbell, he was about 2/10 of a second up on his time. Again, that turn number 11 invalidation on the outside curb. Even though it's a new game, it still catches people out, and I'm expecting that to carry on constantly throughout tonight. Just seeing who else is currently on a lap. I believe Rocco is the next one across the line, Jake.
I'm not too sure. I'm on board with Wouter, actually, but I think you're right. Rocco has crossed the line. Melty's come across the line as well. Wouter was on a very good first sector. He did 27.1. Pease, incidentally, as well, spun on his in-lap at the exit of turn 10. So just a few corners go for Wouter. The Williams looking nice and hooked up, considering it's the slowest car. Campbell, as you say, doing a great job in P3, and Verstappen in P1 as well. We're not used to in Endure seeing the D1 runners, as it were, perform particularly well in qualifying. So it makes an interesting scene change to see them do well. Wouter goes into P3, 5/1000s quicker than his teammate, and on a 1:18.717 there, we've got Haas coming to the line. That is... Oh, Rocco has spun. So that was just Verstappen coming into the lane. Rocco has spun out of turn 6. Timon has just started a lap, I want to say. And who is that Ferrari? That's Jay Hings, also going for a spin on the exit turn 14, as Campbell is just coming through there to start his lap as well. And one of the Alpines is coming to finish his lap. That's Luco 5HD. Our reigning champion, of course, we can't neglect to mention, doesn't improve though, so it's a 19-0 and stays in P7.
Barrel Fury, though, 3/10 up on his time through Sector 2. He's coming up to the line now, slots it into P2 in that Red Bull, an 18.360 for the Irishman. So nice lap time from him. Melty as well, jumping up into third position in that Mercedes. So a 18.435 for him as well. And I'm pretty sure that's majority of the laps done. I'm looking around. Timon has invalidated. Jay Hings is on a bit of a go slow. Rocco, of course, spinning on that lap as well. Luke just finished his lap. Campbell has invalidated on his lap. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is everyone basically on an in lap at the moment. 5 minutes left to go, Jake. Is there anyone that's a bit of a surprise at the moment for yourself?
I'll say Rocco, 1.1 seconds behind his teammate. I mean, Rocco will tell you he's probably a D2 driver on this game. I don't think he feels as comfortable with the pace as he has done. But yeah, Rocco, 1.1 seconds off his teammate. That is particularly shocking. I suppose teammate comparisons are the only real things you can draw. Wouter and Campbell is the antithesis of that, split by just 5/1000s. Disappointed that Gary hasn't managed to get a valid lap in. Anyone else particularly? I'm disappointed Nathan has left the session, and Larkin hasn't gone out to set a lap yet because he's eating, I believe, but all the same. Don't like to see drivers not set lap times in qualifying, and Larkin making a mockery of the division there by eating his food rather than trying to set a valid lap time.
I can't believe someone's eating their food whilst they're trying to do something in F1. You know, I just can't believe that's happening. But excuse me. Yeah, so we're just waiting for everybody else just to come around doing their laps. Chris jumps up into P4 in the Alfa Romeo, an 18.553. So in the Alfa, that's a pretty impressive lap time. I know it's considered the 4th quickest car on the game, but that's still impressive.
It is very impressive indeed, especially URL Chris in Division 3, of course. We can't neglect to mention these are drivers from across the pantheon of League of Europe from Division 1 through to Division 4. QVR Campbell is improving. He's gone for a second lap on those tyres. Let's just check it is a second lap. It is indeed a second quick lap on those tyres. So he's not going to go for be able to come in and go back out again. I shouldn't believe. And what's he going to say? This is his final effort of the session, and he goes P4 at 1:18.5, so just edges out Chris there. Can't unseat Melty or Farrell Fury, but sneaks onto the front two rows for now. We have got some cars coming out for their final runs. Harry Noir, Luco 5HD, and Brent, our early pit leavers there.
Yeah, certainly are. So, yeah, good luck both from Campbell, of course from Chris as well. 3 minutes left to go, Jake. I think this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. Obviously, Verstappen out on top, and as I say that, he's retired from the session, so he's not going to get another lap done on the board. Larkin is finally out.
It is worth noting as well, I don't know what the tyre situation is, but I imagine that's probably why Campbell maybe did an extra lap on one of his sets, is they want to keep a set of soft tyres for the race, because usually with Endure there's a lot of safety cars, it ends up being 3s and 4 stops, so softs will probably get used at some point. As you mentioned, Larkin out on the track. He's going to have one go at it to try and move himself up the order. Luca 5HD will be his benchmark in the other Alpine on a 1:18.8 in P9 currently. We've got a bit of a traffic jam though in sector 3. So for the start of that, it's going to be Luco 5HD. He's going to be the first to start his lap. Campbell's going to come into the pits just behind him, and that rate is Harry Noir. It's going to be Luco 5HD and Harry Noir for the first. And Harry Noir's not turned his ERS on there across the line. I saw the Ferrari's red light blinking away. Harry Noir forgetting to turn his ERS on. That'll cost him a tenth or so. And we've got a huge traffic jam behind him at turn 1. We've got an Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin. That will be Gary Ortiz and a Williams of Wouter coming out of the pits all in unison there. Let's have a look at Luke through the first sector. What are you aiming for? A low 27 is what you're looking for. Around 27.1, 27.0 for Luke. That is a big first sector time, and he is up on what Campbell and Wouter, the two Williams drivers, were ones who first sectors that I had noted earlier on. So Luke in a good position right now. He's there or thereabouts that he can shift his way up the order, possibly towards the front two rows. Campbell retires from the session. 2 tenths in hand now for Luco 5HD. That's putting him around Chris and Campbell territory. Has he got any more time to find in sector? He's going to be the first person to complete the final lap in these closing stages. The yellow flag, that's just someone getting out of the way. Nathan, back in the session. You love to see it. And Luke now 2 corners to go. Where's this going to put him? J. Cole, Mystic J. Cole, where's this going to put Luke?
Going to put him between Melty and Campbell. I think as he comes up towards the line, I think it's going to be 18.47.
3.55. Well, it's a great effort from Luke. Puts him on the front row, but where's Harry Noir going to go? In fact, he must have backed off because doing a second warm-up lap there because he did the 22. Timon has not improved, so he must be doing a second warm-up lap as well, and then immediately invalidates at turn 2. We've got some cars coming across the line now. We're going to watch on board with XL QVR Gary as RJ jumps into second place there. Gary across the line, hasn't set a lap yet, goes into 10th place but does edge out RELP is just behind him. Car Mentalist across the line now goes from 16th to 2nd for Car Mentalist, 18.274. That is a mighty lap time as Wouter retires from the session as well. We've got Rocco now. He is invalidated, so it's going to be one of the Red Bulls, Farrell Fury, coming around the final corner. He's up by a third of a second. His teammate, meanwhile, California 5, has come a cropper at the last corner, and he's disqualified for going the wrong way, so he can be put to the back of the grid as Farrell Fury jumps into second place. Jay Hings can't improve. We've just got the Alpine of... That's Luke coming into the pits. Have we got anyone improving? Ariel Pease is improving. He's up by 600 of a second through the middle sector. Now towards turn 11. Let's see. Very easy to go deep into there and clobber the curve a little too much, but that looked nice and tidy from Pease through turn 11. 12 is nice and straightforward in these cars with lots of downforce. Goes a shade deep at 13. That'll compromise him through 14, but it's a tidy lap all the same from Ariel Pease. Cars in retiring from the session now, but Pease across the line does improve to P8, so sneaks into the top 10. Chris isn't going to improve. Rocco isn't going to improve, so Rocco, J. Cole, I think, is going to be our last man across the line here.
Yeah, let's see what the Brit can do in that Haas. He's just got 2 more corners left to go. His teammate currently on par with an 18.1, and he's about 1.1 behind his teammate and has oversteer out of the second to last corner. So Rocco just has a little bit of a pirouette at the final corner as well. Nice little 360 and manages to hold it without hitting the wall. But yeah, Rocco 1.1 seconds off of his teammate. I know you were saying about it earlier that he reckons himself he's a Division 2 driver, but that is a bit. I'm not going to lie, Rocco. It's a bit embarrassing.
Shocking from Rocco. So to find himself languishing down in 15th place and be shown up by his teammate in P1. We're just waiting for QRT Timon of Quest Racing Team to retire from the session. One of the few 3-letter abbreviations in the league racing community where I actually know what it stands for. Like, for example, ERT Larkin. What on earth does the E stand for? I'm clueless. DTR, like, what does any of that stand for? Like, I wouldn't know what QVR stood for if I wasn't in it, because it's completely misspelt. Like, REL, it's 3 capital letters. You'd think it stands for something. It's not, it's just an abbreviation of relentless. So really, it should be capital R, little e, little l. RJW videos, you'd think RJW is a racing team. It's not, it's just Ross's initials, like, you know. Anyway, run over. The state of the league racing. People have a fixation with putting 3 letters at the front of their name, and I want to credit trailblazers like XL for doing something different and actually daring to have a whole word. Incredible stuff. Anyway, RIP XL. Take you through the grid order. It's QVR Verstappen on pole in the Haas man there leading. Farrell Fury in second place. Carmelis and RJ lock out the second row. Then it's Luke and Melty, Campbell and Pease in all Division 1 row 4. Harry Noir slots behind Chris for 9th and 10th. Then Wouter, Gary, Larkin manages 13th at 1 effort. Brent in 14th, Rocco 15th. Jay Hings in 16th, and then QRT Timon in 17th. 2 drives did at lap times, or rather will be classified without lap time. Nathan Greer 63 and California 5, who came to blows earlier in the session. I think Nathan dropped it out of turn 2, and then California 5 hit him because the Mercedes was missing a front wing. And then he disqualified for that spin and heading the wrong way up the track. Daka says this is some waffle. That is correct. We have a 1 hour 50-minute stream to fill. I'll be damned if there's not going to be some grade A waffling going on. But he's welcome to he's welcome to join us in the commentary box if he wants to, alleviate some of the waffle burden from our good selves. Yes, your reaction exactly, Jacob. Heavy rain, and I cannot think of anything. I couldn't dare think of a worse way of spending my Wednesday evening than talking about 100% race with heavy rain and no overtaking.
Could be the same thing on Sunday, though. You never know.
It could be the same thing on Sunday. Of course, other leagues, we don't mention their names.
No.
Yes, we are League of Europe Super. Oh my word! Look at the state of that. Melty says he thinks the E in ERT stands for elite. Well, they're not very elite if people don't know what their name is, are they? So, let's have a look at the tyres, just for the sake of it. Everyone on the full wets, Jacob. Everyone on the full wets. And Carmento's hitting the back of Farrell Fury there. Both disqualified in session. Both going to be starting on some cold tyres. And if I know Carmentos, they will not be a happy bunny. Someone else has been disqualified as well. Rocco and Jay Hings.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch what happened with it. I didn't even quite catch what happened with Farrell and Carmentelis, but RJ and Luke are going to have a bit of a fun time just behind the both of them when they get their starts. I think they'll try and also get a better start, or they should get a better start than them. But yeah, I think we're going to have a bit of carnage going in towards turn number 1 here, Jake. I think Verstappen will get away well. I think because he's going to be the only one on semi-warm, wet tyres compared to the rest of the front, or compared to the other 2 in the front 3. But Yeah, I think Verstappen gets away well. I think RJ and Luke may try and go for something. Campbell, I know he's usually pretty good at starts. I don't know. I expect someone from through this grid, maybe Harrenwag to maybe even Larkin as well, and Gary, Walter. Again, like anyone from that 10th to 13th, in my opinion, I think can move their way up through the field. Brent and Nathan also getting disqualified as well.
Yes, so we're not having a grid left to assemble when we get to the end of this formation lap. It must be a bizarre feeling or sight for Verstappen to be on pole position. Not something he's particularly used to in league racing at all. I shouldn't really say used to being middle of the pack in Division 1 in LOE at least. But yeah, with the tyres, as you say, certainly will be interesting lining up on the grid there, and I think Verstappen has played that to perfection. He has indeed, as we've got our last cars coming through. California 5 will be the last one. Say, expecting some carnage into turn 1? I certainly hope so. They Hate Melty says, let's be sensible lads, so I'm expecting a triple Melty murder into turn 1. We've got 58 laps ahead of us. God help us all. Why is the game showing us turn 2? We're watching from the back of the grid. It's QVR Verstappen on pole position. It's going to lead them away, and looks like he gets a great start as well. Pulls away from Farrell Fury a touch, and there's no camera angle for us. Farrell Fury gets better traction in the second phase of the start. He's through into turn 1. Car Mentalist is trying to pick his way through as well, and Farrell gets a little out of shape on the exit there, and there's a touch from Car Mentalist on the back of the Red Bull. They come into contact for the second time in 2 laps. We've got a car around in the background. That is Larkin and Jay Hings, and we've got a red McLaren missing a front wing as well. We've got a virtual safety car. DTR Brent has lost his front wing. Larkin has as well, and it's become a full safety car now. Car Mentalist is up into second place. Farrell, having briefly led, drops into third. Campbell holds on to fourth. Melty fifth. Penalty for Harrenwag for ignoring a yellow flag. And let's have a look at the position changes. So we've got Car Mentalist up 1, Farrell down 1. +3 gain for Campbell, up 1 for Melty. Peasley up 2, down 2 for Luke. RJ has lost 6 places in that. Harrenwag has lost 4. California also has a penalty incidentally, and obviously Brent, Larkin, Jay Hings the biggest losers there. But I don't know if you saw any more than I did, J. Cole, but there was contact there between Larkin, Brent and Jay Hings at the pinch point of turn 2.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of I think there was just a massive effect that had happened, because I saw RJ through turn number 2 having a little bit of a half spin, which is why he's dropped down 6 positions. Campbell, by the way, sublime start from him. And I said he was good at starts and already up in the 4th position, but yeah, RJ just didn't seem to get that start that I was thinking he would do against, of course, Carmensis and Farrell, who should have been on cold tyres. But yeah, RJ, I don't know what happened with him, and then I think it kind of just snowballed from there, and I think it looked as if Harrenwag and Larkin and I think Jay Hings, as you say, and Brent, I don't know if it was just because of RJ they had to try and slow down and avoid him or what, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of contact that went on. Gary's got a bit of front wing missing, and he's actually making his way into the pits as well, so we're expecting him, Brent, Larkin into the pits as well. California and Nathan also making their way into the pits. So Harrenwag, I think, must have gotten a wide damage free. Still has that 5-second time penalty in his name though.
Yeah, so you called a little bit of madness. California, as they served that penalty. You called that little spot of madness into turn 1. We certainly got it. 1 DNF and 5 drivers into the pits at the end of the first lap as California just nips ahead of Nathan GR63 on pit exit. California, despite the 5-second penalty, is in 15th place and hasn't lost any places there. Gary is at the front of this little queue and will gain a place de facto on Harrenwag with that penalty as well. I'm surprised Harrenwag didn't come in preempting everyone behind him with front wing changes. He may as well have come in, put another set of full wets on and served that penalty, but he's missed his window now, or he's missed his chance of staying ahead of those behind him, at least, who are now free to catch up. So it is Verstappen, Car Mentalist, Farrell Fury and Campbell. Everyone, he said, still on the wet tyres. There's no gambles for intermediates. You can see the state of the rain coming down there. And I can't really think of anything to say at this point, because there's no real strategy calculation to be made here, because as we said, it's all on wet tyres, although Rocco got a little bit out of shape there through turn 9. Or turn 10. But yeah, there's nothing really to be said at this juncture, because everyone's sort of running the same race.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Verstappen got away relatively well, but Farrell, I don't know how, despite being on much colder tyres, ended up getting actually the best start of the three of them at the front. And I don't know how he didn't end up managing to hold on to the lead. I don't know if he just had a bit of oversteer or what. I think you said the commenters might have tapped the back of him, so it made him a little bit out of shape. But yeah, Farrell had a perfect start, and I said he got ahead of Verstappen at one point, so it's quite surprised that he ended up down in third. Other ones that, of course, had a very good start, as I said, the likes of Pease, Campbell, Melty jumped up one place, like you say. Valter up into ninth, I guess, from all of the carnage that happened next to him. Yeah, I think RJ just, I don't know what had happened with his start. Again, I think that was probably just the biggest letdown for himself. I'm just also just trying to keep an eye out on the comments on this. Larkin saying terrible rear wing damage because people are dumb. So Larkin at the back of the grid has got rear wing damage. So he is, it's only lap 3 of 58. He is in for a very awful race. If it remains wet for the entire race, which I've been told by Brent actually it shouldn't do, it should dry up halfway through, but even still, rear wing damage in the dry is not nice, let alone in the wet.
Particularly with those high speed corners of turns 9 and 10, Larkin is in for a miserable evening. He's best off going and doing his Vanguard placement matches, I think, to be honest with you. He had rear wing. I've had rear wing damage on this game. He's awful. The rear end of the car does not stick at all. It wants to step out on you at every available opportunity. Safety car is in this lap, and just briefly go back to the start. Verstappen had a very good initial start. It looked like he matched Farrell early on, and then in third or fourth gear he just got a touch more wheel spin than Farrell, which is where Farrell gained in there. Car Mentalist was the ultimate benefactor, although kneeling goes on through the grass there, trying to get some temperature into their tyres. So this is the hard thing for Verstappen, is when do you put the power down, because you're not quite certain of where the grip's going to be. They've not gone through the last corner in these conditions at full speed yet, only under safety car conditions. So I think Verstappen will be probably wanting to go as late as possible to minimise his own risk of throwing this one away. But it looks like, I say that, he's gone into the second to last corner, has he? No, backs them up a little more. It's hard to tell if they're at full speed or not. I think Verstappen has now gone, and Car Mentalist right on the back of the Haas there towards turn 1. Car Mentalist with ERS in full deployment, got some great slipstream, looks to the outside of the Haas, tries to go around the outside into turn 1 and ends up sailing straight into the gravel there. Farrell's going to go through, Campbell's going to go through, and Car Mentalist rejoins the exit of turn 2, down into 5th place behind Melty, but crucially for them, still ahead of Pease. I don't think we saw any other changes on the restart for position. There's a bit of a break in the field around Rocco as Wouter and Chris are side by side through turn 4 there, and Wouter edges through into 8th place, holds off the Alfa Romeo, and then looks to make it double pickings, passes Luke sensational into turn 5, and Chris could send Luke even tumbling further down the order. He does indeed. Luke not wanting to pick a battle, knows it's 100% race, and down another position as Rocco squirming away, and Timon was that, nearly into the wall, and RJ sneaks around the outside. Gary might just do the same here as they've got the long run towards turns 9 and 10. Gary just ahead, and we've got the same with Nathan and California in close combat again here, and Larkin sitting behind Brent, is that? And Brent's trying to go up the inside of California into turn 9. That's bold if it comes off. Hangs around the outside. California backs out of that one, nearly gets collected by Larkin, and in the end lets his good friend Larkin go through. We've still got some battle in here. Look at this, Nathan is up the inside of Timon into turn 12 there, and or turn 11, sorry, and is through. Bump pass, but Nathan makes the move stick, and up front I've completely missed something, because Farrell Fury now leads this race. Car Mentalist is into the pit lane, Campbell's third, Melty's fourth, and we've got a huge split in the field. There's so much battling going on in the background there. I didn't even notice the fact that Farrell had passed Verstappen for the lead of this race.
I didn't even notice that either. I don't know if Verstappen must have had a moment or something like that, but yeah, Farrell now up into the lead of this race. Campbell still remains in third. I've just been watching sort of that battle from 5th downwards as well. Valter, a very good restart for him, especially in that Williams, getting past his REL compadre as well. Chris trying to sort of hang around with him. Luke getting double overtaken as well from turn 5 from Valter and from Chris. And now I think he's looking a little bit more vengeful, wants to try and get a move done on Chris once again. Rocco and Harrenwag also having a little bit of a battle there for 9th and 10th. just as I said, breaking away from the rest of the pack. I think Timon from that last lap, again, just caused a little bit of a snowball effect, which caused the rest of those guys to sort of back off. But RJ, he's caught back up to the back of Paranog and Rocco. So I wonder if we'll see a move go down in towards turn number 9 as turn 10, switching on board with Melty all over the back of Campbell, set in purple sector 2 as Carl Mendes having a bit of a spin coming out of turn number 6, interestingly enough. But here we go, Melty maybe trying to go down the inside of Campbell in towards turn number 13. He's going to hold it down the inside. The Williams is going to hold it around the outside, and I think Melty might just have to give that one up. Good battle between the pair of them, but they're now going to start to lose sight from Verstappen and Farrell. Melty needs to try and get this move done quickly, because it does look as if Melty is a bit quicker than Campbell at the moment. But again, it's playing the long game, especially in these conditions. Is Melty going to be able to try and go for this move quick enough to get past Campbell and try and battle with those top 2?
Oh, he certainly, I think he could have made that move into 11 if he had just been a touch braver on the brakes, had Melty. But look at them, how much more confidence he's got through turns 1 and 2. Probably gets a warning though, nearly loses it on the traction. That'll scupper any chance of a move into turn 3. In that as well, we saw Nathan had passed Gary for P12. Nathan continuing his climb up the field from that disconnection in qualifying. Carl Mendes passes Timon, who had a spin on that last lap, Timon into the pit lane to fix some damage. Nathan climbing all over the curb of turn 3 and really trying to hustle and hound that McLaren of RJW Videos, who had started all the way up in 3rd place, now a lowly 11th. If we've got any other battles on track, we've got Pease there having a big moment out of turn 6, and URL Chris will slot into the slipstream of the Aston Martins. Pease has another moment there. Chris nearly has one himself. He's going to nip through turn 9, and that was brave. Oh, sorry, turn 8, sorry. Get out of corners medal. That was brave and beautiful from Chris, but a crucial error from Pease. That was an unforced error, and Pease cost himself a position there. This battle, 2 seconds off the back of Wouter, who himself is 2 seconds off our leading quartet. Melty still hounding the back of that Williams, but Campbell not affording him any opening so far.
I think Chris isn't actually in the session. I think that was his AI that's overtaking Pease, because he is ghosting, and I can see Pease is just trying to go through him at this point. So I don't think Chris is actually in the session. His AI has managed to overtake Pease, go up into 6th position. Pease seems to really be struggling to get back past him. So hopefully Chris can get back in the session very soon, if he is not in the session at the moment.
Gary and Brennan?
Yeah, here we go. Gary, Brent and Larkin all making their way into the pits. I wonder, because it's raining a lot less, is this intermediate conditions, Jake? I'm just watching on board with Brent.
I think you are right. It is intermediate, so let's put gap to leader on and see how that evolves. I've got a feeling that Chris is in the session, but because he's desync, the game has made him a ghost, because I saw a few twitchy moments from him on the last lap that didn't look particularly AI, to put it one way, so I'm not too sure about that one. Farrell, meanwhile, we've not mentioned, has clocked out up front. He's on his way home. He's packed his bags. He's on the bus. He's 2.9 seconds clear off Verstappen, who is leading the little Campbell Melty train. And look at Melty up the inside of Campbell there through into turn 9, and that is Melty's made the move. He has, at the 3rd lap of asking, he is through into P3 as Melty. Campbell's going to try to get a run back on him towards turn 12, but that Williams doesn't have the straight line speed to compete, and Melty through, and Verstappen's next target here. I wonder if Verstappen might have some damage, because Verstappen was quicker than Farrell in qualifying. Nathan grabs another place from RJ to pen 12. Another big moment for Melty there, and Harry Noir has lost 2 places. What is going on in this battle? But yeah, I just wondered if Verstappen had some damage from somewhere, maybe because he lost a lot of time. Although he's clawed it all back, because Farrell's made a mistake. It was around 3.5 seconds. It's plummeted to 2.6 again. So is that Chris? Not Chris. It's Timon just getting out of the way. Timon already a lap down on the intermediates, so he needs to make quick progress on those. California passes Harry Noir for P12 into turn 1, and that's nicely done from the Red Bull man, although he is a bit tight on the exit, and that could leave Harry Noir a sniff of a chance back towards turn 3. Actually, not on this occasion. That Red Bull working a treat in a straight line, as it does in real life. Let's have a look at the gap to lead the car mental. It's 31.6 seconds off the lead. No quicker than Farrell Fury right now on those inters, and we'll keep an eye on that gap, but it doesn't seem, right now at least, that the inters are quite quicker, because Car Mentalist is losing a fair chunk of time through turns 1, 2 and into turn 3.
I was going to say, Commentated has done a very good job of getting himself to be the lead and intermediate runner, especially if everybody does have to come in, stuck on those intermediate tyres, and of course when he does hit that crossover point, then the rest of the guys on those wet tyres, they could be behind Commentated. Commentated, despite having that early pit stop, I'm assuming for some sort of wing change, he could be in for still a pretty decent result. As I said, only 6/10 of a second up ahead of Gary, but I think Gary and Commentated could still be on for a very good shout of a good points haul. I'm just right on board with Melty though, because he's still just clawing onto the back of that Haas of QVR Verstappen. Melty is stuck in a little bit of a QVR sandwich at the moment. Unfortunately, can't seem to find a way through, and doesn't seem to get the exit out of that final corner that Verstappen does seem to as well. But despite that, of course, being in a Mercedes is going to be a lot easier for Melty, but at the same time, being in Division 3 compared to a Division 1 driver, he's still doing very well against the formidable Constructors champions of both Verstappen and Campbell. Valter has caught up to the back of these guys as well in that Williams, so we could see a bit of a Williams battle going on very, very soon, Jake.
Yes, Walter was 2 seconds, more than 2 seconds adrift of these guys. He's reeled them back in, so I do wonder if Verstappen is suffering with something or other, whether it's overheating or damage or something, because he's suddenly lost a load of pace to Farrell Fury. And I'm just going to quickly look on board with car mentalist, because Gary is looking a little like he's in Predator mode right now behind the back of that AlphaTauri. Gary is certainly seems the quicker inter-runner right now. Car mentalist isn't catching Farrell at all. In fact, he's lost about 3 seconds to the race leader since coming out of the pits, so seems to be, for now at least, it's not quite the way of Inter. Either that, or these Inter runners specifically are just some way off the pace. 4.1 now for Farrell up front. He is nothing going from there. And Harry Noir has died at turn 10, and he gets it going again, gets it spun round, nicely done, but that's going to drop him all the way down to the Inter runners, and takes him thoroughly out of the contention for some good points. As Campbell into the pits there, J. Cole, our first leading runner, is in for some intermediates.
Yeah, so this is where we're going to see now if it is the right call for Campbell. As I said, I think we're coming in early. Does make it a little bit easier for yourself, so you don't have to worry about when it does come out, as Melty picks up the first 3-second time penalty out of a 58-lap-old race. Harry Mark has had another spin now out of what I believe is the the third to last corner, and Harry Mark's actually been disqualified. He's letting people through, and unfortunately, he's been disqualified because he was facing the wrong way or going the wrong way despite trying to spin around. So both Ferraris are now out of the race. Again, it's just a bit unfair from the game, especially considering that he was just letting everybody else through before he could turn around. So doing the nice thing, it's now come back to bite him.
Bit like George Russell at Silverstone, should never do the right thing, always just act in your own self-interest. Speaking of acting in your own self-interest, here comes Nathan Greer at 63, hound in the back of Rocco Reggie for real towards the chicane of turns 9 and turns 10. Does that AlphaTauri just have the straight line speed excess? Not on this occasion into 9 and 10, but certainly looking the quicker car is that AlphaTauri, faring better than its teammate right now, Car Mentalist, down in 13th place, with still falling considerably off the back of Farrell Fury. And in fact, this train is being held up somewhat by the D3 man URL Chris, who is still got P's for company behind him, and Luke, Rocco, Nathan all joining this battle right now. And I think RJ could be coming soon, although Chris is into the pits there, P's as well. So this is going to be interesting. And Nathan's in as well. So Luke and Rocco stay out. The other 4 come in. So that's going to be an interesting battle to watch as the race evolves, or as the next few laps evolve. They're all going for intermediates, of course. Let's have a look at Campbell. Where's he going to be in relation to these? They were about 6 seconds clear, I think, of that battle or so. And Campbell comfortably in some clean air. I still think it's quite borderline. I think we're just hitting the point now where it's going to Inters. I think thus far, Inters haven't been quicker. We've got a yellow flag to Farrell Fury. Farrell Fury has crashed and spun and hit the wall. He's missing his front wing. Our race leader has taken himself out of contention for victory, at least for now. He's spun all the way round at turn 8, and his rear wing is banging against the wall. And he's going to need a new front wing, but luckily he can time it with a change to some intermediate tyres.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Fowl, but to be honest with you, like you say, I think that probably couldn't have come at a better time if you had to do that. It had to kind of be about now. But yeah, he's now going to be under pressure from Luca and Rocco, and of course probably get jumped by them in the pits. As you were saying about the intermediates being that sort of interchangeable with the wets now, the inters are definitely much quicker because I saw just on that last lap, Campbell went purple in that final sector, so I think the track is starting to dry out that little bit more now, and I think it is definitely intermediate conditions. Melty comes in, our race leader Verstappen now stays out, Valter also stays out, Farrell comes in, Luke and Rocco, both also stay out. So Melty and Farrell out of the top 6 are the only other ones that have come in on this lap. Of course, Farrell's going to get his wing change and everything like that. Melty, where is he going to come out in relation to Campbell? Because it was so close between the two of them. Campbell sets the fastest lap of the race. Is he going to be out in front of Melty? Melty looks as if he's going to be out in front, but Campbell's going to try and go for a bit of a switchback. Of course, Melty will have the colder tyres in comparison to the two, but Melty does stay out up in front of Campbell for now. Are we going to see it though? Because Campbell's got much warmer tyres in comparison to the Mercedes. Are we going to see him try and go for a move on the Mercedes driver? I don't think he's going to be able to, and I think Melty might have just came away with that and came out in front of Campbell, going a little bit wide out of turn 5, but I think Melty has managed to hold that up against the Scotsman.
Great composure from Melty to hold on to P5. Campbell frustrated there. I think he thought that the undercut was in his lap. That lap of a 34.2, 6/10 quicker than Verstappen. We've got the fastest laps on the board, and I think the wet runners are still, the times are still dropping for those guys considerably. A 34.1 for Car Mentalist, a 34.8 for Verstappen up front. So the offset between two isn't perhaps as huge as my thing. It's not on the order of seconds. It's still on the order of tenths of a second right now. Verstappen staying out again. Wouter does the same. And sorry, Verstappen's into the pits. They are into the pits. The map deceiving my eyes there. So they are coming in. But that could be one costly lap because although Luke and Rocco staying out on track. And, well, I wonder if they're going to go to dries, potentially, go straight to some dries. But what we care about here is where they're going to be out in relation to Melty, to Campbell. I think Melty could have the lead of this race, you know. He's going to come out very close to Verstappen towards turn 1. They're side by side. Verstappen has to go almost avoiding action over the inside grass there. Campbell sneaks through into P2 just about. It's a drag race towards 3. Wouter hasn't made any gains in this, although he's very much now in the fight for the win. And Verstappen down to a net 3rd, Campbell into a net 2nd. Melty leads the race effectively after the stops, although he has that 3-second penalty, but can now in that Mercedes, in the quicker car. Do you think he can start to make a break for it?
I think he can. I think he's looking relatively quick, and I think he might even be a little bit faster than Campbell at the moment. So I think Melty, if he can try and push this a little bit more, obviously to the point where he doesn't spin, but if he has that a bit more of a push, then there's definitely
Speaking of spins, and it's a safety car, and Luke and Rocco, how do you like your luck?
Wow. They've been blessed, to say the least. Luke is now, of course, going to make his way into the pits.
Oh, what's happened there? Campbell's missing his front wing, Jacob.
He's hit the back of Melty. I think he must have... I'm assuming Melty's now got rear wing damage, but yeah, Campbell, no front wing whatsoever. And Campbell picked up a penalty for 5-second penalty for a collision with Melty. I'm guessing, yeah, I've got to assume that Melty's probably got rear wing damage as well. So I think our net race leader is really going to struggle now in this race, especially if it is the case that Campbell did hit him that hard. If he's got no front wing, surely Melty's got rear wing damage.
You would think so. Campbell is in. I'm wondering if Melty just went straight into the red on the Delta as soon as the car was deployed, slammed on the brakes, didn't have the awareness or consideration that a car would be behind him and slow gently. He just saw the red, slammed on the brakes, and Campbell was victim to that. I mean, you have, to a lesser or greater extent, got to show, it's unfortunate when the Delta goes straight to the red, but you've also got to show the due consideration that cars are in close proximity behind you, and I'm going to have to react to that, and you've got to give them time to react. You can lift off gently, you don't have to plough on the brakes, but it does shake out our net order. So Melty leads the race with a 3-second penalty. Verstappen 2nd, Wouter 3rd, Luke came out of that in 4th. Rocco in the end was jumped by Chris and Pease. RJ 8th, California is in 9th, remarkably. Carmentalist is in 10th, Gary in 11th, also with a 3-second penalty. I think we've mentioned DTR Brent is in 12th, Farrell Fury down in 13th, but crucially back in the race and ahead of Campbell as well. Larkin with that rear wing damage is in 15th. QRT Timon is still our final runner, although is back on the lead lap, which is big for him. But yeah, that has shaken the race up considerably. Two of our quickest runners down in 13th and 14th. Lucas has now jumped into the fight for the win as well in that Alpine. And Wouter has just sort of been lurking so far. He closed up the gap to the front four as it was back then, from 5th place, and he's now in a net second with Melty's penalty. Wouter's in a great position here, and he's not really had to try too hard to find himself there.
Yeah, I think that's a bit interesting. I got to say, as I said, I think Melty is definitely battling with rear wing damage. Just looking at him going around the track, even under the safety car, he does seem to be sliding around a lot. Could be just the cold tyres, but I think he has got that rear wing damage on that Mercedes. So even Daka's saying in stream chat, saying that Campbell was claiming a brake check and you claiming cab. So I suppose there's only one way we'll find out is once the safety car does come in. But yeah, I mean, a few guys that have made up quite a few positions. California is one that's definitely surprised me for sure, because he's been having just a bit of a quiet race ever since that start. He's just been having a nice little quiet race on his own, and now up ahead of Carmentalist, one of the first guys that made that pit stop onto the set of the intermediate tyres. He's managed to jump them lot, and is now, of course, because of the safety car, is now back with the rest of those guys out in front. In that Red Bull, anything can still happen. California may not be out of this at the moment, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to try and get past a few of these other guys, more experienced guys, shall I say. He definitely can have his work out for him, but at the same time, again, I wouldn't want to rule him out. Both of the Red Bull boys, Farrell and California, I don't think you can rule them out.
I don't think you can at all. I mean, we've seen this race yo-yo one way. I think we can quite easily sit yo-yo the other way. We've got the dry running to come, of course, and we don't know how the pace is going to change on the basis of that in the race. It could favour some different drivers. Safety car could come in this lap if QRT Timon gets a shift on and catches up to the back of Larkin. It could be a late call. Let's have a look. He's close to the back. He's within 4 seconds, 3 seconds. There we go. He's within 3 seconds. We get the safety car in this lap message, and it's going to be Melty from Verstappen, from Wouter, from Luke to lead them away. Pease has made big gains, as has Chris. We've seen the order shaken up several times. It's going to be Melty who's going to take the restart. And how late is he going to leave? Is he going to go on the last corner, or is he going to go late and deep into the straight? I think Melty he's gone now, and he's caught Verstappen napping a little bit there, weaving away, trying to get some temperature into his tyres towards turn one. Further back, we've got a side-by-side is that between Rocco and Pease into the first corner, and Rocco almost collects Chris as well, has to back out of it, and has he picked up any damage in that? RJ's going to try to go around the outside of all of this. He's passed Rocco already. Can he send it on? Pease down the outside of turn 3. He gets pinched up towards the apex. It's 3 abreast, and California gets pinched up against the apex there. Has to concede a place to Carmentalist. Still going at it is Rocco and RJ around the outside of turn 5. Carmentalist, like he did at the start, just trying to nab any scraps they can find off the back of this. And RJ is crucially through into turn 6, and Carmentalist follows him through. Carmentalist up into 8th place. California now side by side with Rocco in through turn 8 and 9. And still these guys aren't sorting themselves out. We don't know how this is going to end up. And look, Carmentalist now trying to take RJ as well. Oh, sorry, I had to take a breath there. Are you with us, J. Cole?
Yeah, sorry, I don't blame you. I thought my mic was unmuted, but it turns out I accidentally muted it. But yeah, they were all running about 2 by 2, like just behind California, coming up in towards turn number 10. It was so chaotic. But
so we got Larkin and Farrell into turn 12, because I've been calling turn 11 turn 12 all race. Larkin not fancying the move, but Campbell got ahead of Farrell there into turn 11, and that could be a big move later on. Campbell also passing Brent there as well for P12. Campbell making very quick progress through this field to recover from that alleged brake check.
Yeah, no, it certainly is, and it's very, very sort of close. In fact, Brent actually got back past Campbell in the end, so McLaren managed to stay up ahead of the Williams. I was saying that Campbell trying to go down the inside in towards turn number 3. Is he going to be able to get this move done? A little bit of wheel banging between the pair of them, but I think Brent was expecting him to go for that inside move. Only going to hold it down the inside in towards turn number 4, and they're both still side by side. That is Farrell having a spin out of turn number 4, both still side by side with Campbell and Brent. Brent's going to have the outside for turn 6. Campbell does swoop in straight in front of the McLaren. Nicely done from Campbell. Good racing between the pair of them. A little bit further up, though, Parmentis now all over the back of RJ. Since getting passed by Pease, RJ is now going to be put completely under pressure by the AlphaTauri. Are we going to see Parmentis go past RJ before turn number 10? No, we are not. He's just going to stay behind. They're just going to stay behind the McLaren for now, but they are still eyeing up a move on that McLaren, and even then, saying that, RJ is still holding on to the back of Pease at this moment. I think Pease passed him early on, but it's looking like RJ might be a little bit quicker than him.
Yeah, I think Pease is the proverbial cork in the bottle right now in this group. He seems well off the pace of Chris, already 1.3 seconds off the back. You can see how much the track is drying up. Pease must have had some damage, because Pease into pits, Carmentless into pits, and Melty in as well. I wonder, we've not had a DRS enabled message. Could this be an early stop for dries? It is an early stop for dries, because Melty's on some soft tyres. Everyone's coming in. DRS must have been enabled. That or Mark is telling them. I didn't see a DRS enabled message. Did you? Have I missed something?
I haven't seen anything show up, and Brent is the only one that's actually going for a different strategy on a set of a medium compounded tyre. It's still raining, so I don't know why they've actually come in. They must have been told to come in. I don't know what's going on, and it must be DRS enabled very soon.
So Melty 16.8 seconds off the lead, penalty for RJ, and that's 16.7, 6.8. Let's have a look how that evolves through the lap. I think it's nip and tuck between the inters and the softs right now, and the rain has indeed stopped. So have Verstappen and Wouter and Luke been caught napping by a lap or so. Larkin passes Brent for P13. With the field is fractured into two, we've got a close battle. Is that between Larkin and Brent still towards turn 6? And ahead of them, Pease and Carmenas. Campbell passes Gary. Campbell continues his upward trajectory through the field, but could have missed the stop for a switch to the soft tyres. 16.3, 16.2 now. The softs are definitely quicker. The dry tyres are the quicker tyre, and everyone needs to be coming into the pit lane, and indeed they are. There is the DRS enabled message, but QBR Verstappen staying out.
That's a mistake. That is definitely a massive mistake, and I think Verstappen's now going to be losing out a significant amount of positions. Everyone now that didn't pit on that last lap, other than Verstappen, has come in for a fresh set of tyres. Gary, the only other one that's gone on a set of the medium compounds, as Brent as well. So they might play a little bit of interesting game towards the end of towards the middle and end of this race. But yeah, as you can see, they're all making their way past now. Melty still remains out in the lead of the race, and he's got a 3-second buffer to Valtteri out in front as well. So Melty could still be on for this win of this race, and with Valtteri picking up a penalty as well, you can't rule out that Mercedes for still taking this win. He's just got to hope that Verstappen he did hope that Verstappen didn't pit, and he still hasn't pit. So yeah, Verstappen is going to be dropping a number of places.
We've got a big battle here between Carmentless and Luke into turn 6. Carmentless did this switcheroo on Luke and then gave Luke a shove for good measure into turn 6, but through into 5th place. Pease, the big gainer. Everyone who made that early stop for softs has gained massively in this. Pease is now running in a net third, catching Verstappen. It's going to be quite close, I think, between Verstappen and Pease, although Pease has sector 3 to reel in some big gains on the Haas. Pease running a really quiet but sensible, cool race so far, it has to be said. Kept his way out of trouble. Verstappen does pit. Does he go on to the mediums? Does he go on to the soft? So presumably the soft is with a view to the fact that they're going to be a safety car probably at some point. California and Rocco doing battle, and Chris and Gary actually as well. Both Alfa Romeos in there. Timon's going to try to get past Chris as well, and it does. Nips through in front of his teammate Verstappen into the pit lane. He's going to be well adrift of Melty behind Wouter. Is he going to be behind Pease as well? He's going to be on slightly cold tyres. He goes a little deep into one, and Pease just drives clean around the outside of 2 into 3rd place. Verstappen That was a costly mistake, and he's going to have to suffer some warm-up issues on the medium tyres a little more as well. Commentated could be sticking their nose in for another place. Who's another one like Pease, who's made big gains after the first lap. Wing change in. Carmelo's looking around the outside of 5, ends up switching back to the inside for 6. Verstappen doesn't cover him off early enough. Carmelos has the inside line, has to back out. Will tuck into the slipstream for a run at the Haas towards turns 9 and 10. ERS on for Carmelos, and we've got so much more straight line speed with that Honda power unit, and he's going to breeze past Carmelos. And Luke and RJ are very close on the back of this as well. And is Luke going to try and move in the inside of Verstappen? No, just backed out of it, but Verstappen's forced to take a tighter line through turn 10. Still not maybe bringing those tyres in. Luke's on the ERS towards turn 11 now. And is it going to be a late lunge from our reigning champion? No, he plays a sensible game, as you would expect from Luke. Verstappen holds on to 5th place. Carmelos runs away into the distance into 4th. Pease, hard to believe they were side by side at the start of this lap. Pease is already 3.1 seconds up the road from Carmelos. Fastest lap from Melty as well. The rain and the damage and safety cars has really shaken this order up. As we look at the position change, J. Cole, only 2 people are where they started. QVR Gary and DTR Brent, and only 2 drivers in the top 10 have shifted position by 1. Most people have made big swings.
Yeah, I think that's to be expected as well, especially from the wet to the inters to the inters to the dry. So, yeah, there's a lot of changes that have gone on, but I think Verstappen, probably the biggest one now, down into 5th position. Of course, on those medium compound tyre, he will, as I said, have a bit of an advantage more towards the end of the race. He can go a lot longer on those mediums compared to the rest of the guys on the softs, but yeah, I think Verstappen made that mistake of not pitting on the same lap as the rest of those other guys, and now he's paying the price for that. Luke and RJ, so close of each other as well. I've seen RJ basically hitting the back
Melty's gone. Melty's gone. Melty is out of this race. The next thing I was ready to say, I had keyed to say, was how is he going to feel? How is he going to deal with the pressure of having some D1 drivers hunting him down? That's how you deal with the pressure, ladies and gentlemen. You've been at turn 10, you're out of the race, you take an early shower, and you go and put your cotton socks on and head to bed for an early bedtime. And Melty out of this race, becomes our 4th retiree. Wouter takes the net lead in the race. P's coming in. Everyone who went on to softs is going to change off of those. So Verstappen has played an accidental masterstroke here. Verstappen takes the net lead of this race. And I'll tell you what, California 5 is going to be running in P2.
On those soft compound tyre as well, I think this could be a very good opportunity for California to go into this win. You know, despite all of that happened at the start, he still has an opportunity of winning this race, which is it's mind-boggling the fact that he's able to. But yeah, there's still that opportunity for him to win in this race. Sitting in 2nd position now, just behind, of course, Verstappen. As he said, a lot of guys have now made their way in for a set of the medium compound tyre. They get a fresh. They get their basically a free stop, so they're probably only going to stop one more time in this race. I don't think the mediums can go like 36 laps, probably about 21, 22 laps I'd want to say, so they can go for maybe a set of the softs towards the end. The rest of the guys that are on those soft compound tyre will probably opt to go for the mediums towards the end, but they can at least stretch out their softs just that little bit more, so that's why I'm quite surprised a lot of people did opt to make a pit stop. Again, they had that opportunity of at least going for the set of the soft, towards the end of the race, but now they've kind of blown that. Go for a set of mediums towards the end of the race and at least have a bit more of like a tyre life than those softs towards the end of the race. Of course, it's going to be much quicker to go on the set of softs, but yeah, I think Verstappen, as you say, has pulled an accidental blinder. Now sitting in the net lead of the race on the medium compound of tyre, and Gary as well jumping up into 7th position because he was on those mediums already, and same with Brent. Both Gary and Brent started on those medium tyres, came in and put on a set of medium tyres when the rain had stopped. So yeah, I think Gary and Brent are in for a pretty decent shout of a good points haul. Problem is for the both of them, they've both got penalties, so it's going to put them down a peg or two, but at the same time they'll have a lot more of an advantage towards the end of the race in comparison to the guys that are on the softs to go to a set of the medium compound tyre. Larkin with significant rear wing damage is sitting in 4th position, so could definitely cause a ruckus.
Larkin in 4th position and having made 4 pit stops as well. I think more than anyone else in the field, it isn't. Oh, Timon has made 5 pit stops down in 14th place. Everyone has made at least 3, apart from the 2 Hasses and URL Chris. But yeah, it's a weird situation with the tyres. I mean, I would have thought everyone, like Carmentalist, Luke, Pease, RJ, all would have stayed out on the softs, run the softs to around lap 30, lap 32, and then put mediums on and try and go to the end. I mean, it seems inevitable that another safety car would come at some point, a safety car or VSC. You can goal hang for one, sure, if it doesn't come, and then you've got a nice length medium stint to the end of the race. As it is, you say, they're going to have to stretch those tyres considerably to get to the end of the race. And they've left themselves, I think, having, like, well, they're not shot themselves in the foot, but perhaps they've shot themselves in the toe a little bit. But we'll see how that shakes out. Because we thought 3 laps ago, we thought Verstappen had shot himself in the foot, and here he is, safety car in this lap. We're ready to go again. Verstappen on the medium tyres, California, Rocco, Larkin, Campbell, all on softs. Campbell has flung his way back into contention for this race. Meanwhile, Farrell Fury, the two of them who were together down there, in last place. It feels an age and an eternity ago that Farrell Fury led this race. We've got yet another safety car restart, our 3rd of the race. And where is Campbell going to go this time? First one in the dry, so perhaps he might have the confidence to go a little earlier on rather than in the last corner. Safety car reaches the pit lane entry line now, so from now, but it's Verstappen's prerogative when he goes, and he's gone into the second to last corner. He's caught California napping just a touch, I think, not a huge amount, but he's got that half a second buffer. But California's going to have a run, I think, and better straight line speed down towards first corner. Everyone nice and strung out towards turn 1. It seems like it's pretty much as you were, although California goes a little deep into first corner. Chris passes Gary though in the background, and straight for the Red Bull there into turn 1. That has saved Verstappen's bacon. Not that I think he was under too much there. We got a death. That's Farrell Fury. Mentioned he was in last place. He's even more last than he already was. And otherwise, that was quite a tame safety car restart, J. Cole.
Yeah, no, it certainly was. One Red Bull doing God's work at the moment, sitting in second position. The other one falling flat on its face, unfortunately, for Farrell. Hopefully, he's probably going to hope there's another safety car that comes out very soon so that he can catch back up with the rest of the pack. But yeah, very unfortunate for him. He's now sitting very dead last is the Irishman, so maybe he's going to hope that they're, might even try and take those mediums to the end of the race. I'm not too sure, but Larkin really struggling. You can also, Campbell was struggling. No, it was Larkin, sorry. Larkin was really struggling coming through turn number 11, and yeah, Campbell manages to just slip straight on through. I said that rear wing damage is not helping Larkin whatsoever. Despite being on just off the compounder tyre, he's really struggling still, up in 5th position. He's now got Wilder starting to sit all over the back of him. I said the only thing that he's playing in his favour is he hasn't got any penalties to his name. At this moment, I probably am going to commentate his courtesy and probably get one in the next 5 laps. But yeah, Larkin at the moment, no penalties to his name. He can still maybe just try and play it a little bit softer if he wanted to try and at least hold on to the hold on to the penalty gap between Wilder, Gary and Brent. Maybe a top 10 finish is still there for the ERT driver, but I don't know, I suppose we'll wait and see. California still not making any inroads up on our race leader.
And RJ through on Pease, lost 3 places. Oh, that is the curse. That is the curse of the commentator. Turn 5 claims the Red Bull and claims a bit of his front wing as well. His front left end plate missing. He wriggles his way backwards down the track. Careful he doesn't get disqualified there. But yeah, he joins his teammate at the back of the pack, and Farrell is going to breeze past California into 14th place. Both Red Bulls have run in the top 2 today. They're now running in the bottom 2. But yeah, Pete had a very bad lap, was all I was going to say last time around. He got passed by Brent, passed by Carmentalist and Luke, and then by RJ as well. Made a little mistake out of turn 1 as Carmentalist nips ahead of Brent. Carmentalist feel like he's made 1,000 overtakes today. Makes another one. Up into 8th place for the umpteenth time. We've got a yellow flag. That is Farrell is now spun. Both Red Bulls dropping it here on lap 25, and it is worth noting a Haas 1-2, and I don't think we were expecting that when we were saying how Rocco was 1.1 seconds off the pace in qualifying, but so it is. It's a Haas 1-2, and QVR Campbell, after that alleged brake check by Melty when the safety car was deployed, back up into 3rd place, Melty in last, so Campbell has the last laugh on that one. And further back, we've got a Gary train brewing. Larkin has lost it, turn 5. Not surprised about that one. Penalty for Campbell as well. All happening on that 26 J. Cole. But no, into the wall. There goes QRT time, and he's out of the race. Is that another safety car? It is a safety car. We have safety car number 4, and are Rocco, Campbell, and Chris going to take this opportunity to come into the pits? Surely they can't, because they'll go to the back of the pit lane. I'll have one thing to say. I will stop talking in a sec. But yeah, not surprised about that Larkin spin, because with the rear wing, no rear downforce, aging soft tyres as well, turn 5, easy to drop it there. I think Larkin can be forgiven there for that mistake.
Certainly can. It's just, as I said, it all kicked off on lap 26, and that has shown it. Campbell picking up a penalty, Larkin having that spin time and veering into the wall. Both Farrell, Fury and California also spinning on the lap prior as well. There was a McLaren that's come in. That is Brent. Brent has opted to come in. The rest of the soft runners have also come in. So Rocco, Campbell and Chris and Larkin all making their way into the pits. Chuck on a set of the fresh medium compound tyre. Larkin, in fact, has sped into the pit lane. So he's got a 5-second penalty he's now got to deal with for later on in the race as well. RJ going for a set of the hards. Gonna try and he's got to be trying to go to the end of this race on these hard compounder tyre. An interesting thing to note as well, California, when he came into the pits, he didn't fix his front wing, so he's basically got to come in right now behind his teammate to double stack it even further behind the rest of those guys. So California will be, of course, our final joiner to the back of the safety car train. But yeah, Verstappen now in the lead of this race. Gary is now up to 3rd in this race. Despite having all of that contact at the beginning of the race, the same as California, he is now up into 3rd with a penalty. So commentated is technically our net 2nd place, and Luke is our net 3rd. But Verstappen still leading in this race, and because of those two behind him with the penalty, he's got a bit of a buffer between them.
You can tell California doesn't play this game too much. I don't think he knows how to. Oh, Pease is spun at turn 10. I'll interrupt myself. California doesn't know how to change front wing in this game because he's still got the same one on. He's put the softs on. So he's going to have to come back into the pits again. If you're watching the stream, California, you have to go change wing damage, change it from auto to yes. Then it'll change your front wing for you. But you'll have to come back in anyway. Put those mediums back on. Barrel also on the hard tyres. But yeah, Pease with a spin on the safety car. Lost 3 places. So... I'm sure, and Larkin passing Brent. Oh no, Larkin's into the pit lane. Or maybe Larkin's going to go for some hards this time, joining our growing hard crew. No, he's going for some softs. Is Larkin? But yeah, I'm just looking at this timing tower, Jack, and I am perplexed at how QVR Gary. I mean, the name in itself is weird enough, but how Gary is in 3rd place. Because I feel like he's had a shocker of a race, and the man is 3rd. He's the only person with 2 penalties. He's got 3 penalties actually, so he's having a shock of a race. But he's 3rd on track, and that is remarkable to think.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I'm running on board of California to see if he actually fixes his front wing this time. Let's have a look. The wing has been picked up, and I believe they are finally fixing his front wing, so he's managed to do it. He's now getting that front wing changed. Once again, the 2 Red Bulls are going to be the last joiners to the back of this train, and I don't think it's going to. Safety car is going to be in this lap. It'll more than likely have to be in at the end of next lap. Not this lap, sorry. Yeah, the next lap on lap 29. So we're almost at the halfway stage of this race, Jake, and we've already had 4 safety cars. I know it was wet earlier on, but 4 safety cars in the first half of this race. I wonder how the second half of this race is going to be produced.
4 safety cars and 5 retirements. I'm wondering if Gary has put safety car frequency on standard, and he's blessed us with standard safety cars. But I see, because we're approaching, we're about to start what would be the last lap of a normal 50%er. 4 safety cars in a normal 50%er on reduced safety car frequency is absurd. So I'm going to float the conspiracy theory here that Gary did a bit of a boo-boo, as Larkin comes into the pits, probably going to go back onto the mediums here. Gary's done a bit of a boo-boo, and he's put it on standard safety car frequency. Because even though we've got some D3 drivers here, 4 safety cars in a normal race distance is a bloody lot.
So that I've seen 5 in Division 3 for the past 2 races, so I'm sure Chill can probably back that up with me. So I'm sure for the D3 boys, it's a bit of a norm at this rate for Chris, for Brent. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a norm for these boys. So yeah, I'm sure they're probably expecting to have all 5 safety cars come out once again. But yeah, for all the other boys for Division 1, 2 and 4, I don't think they'd be expecting these many safety cars. So I say for Division 1, 2 and 4, the only ones that are actually left in this are Division 1 and 2, other than of course Brent and Chris for Division 3. Farrell of course only not particularly in the league, and neither is California, both just sort of they're still in the server, but of course were former Division 4 drivers. So yeah, both sitting in 12th or 14th. Of course that's why they're both in the record for this evening. But yeah, we're just waiting for California to catch up. Larkin's actually come out between the 2 Red Bulls, and the safety car, despite California not being caught up, it will be in at the end of this lap. He will still catch up at least to the back of this grid. But Verstappen now leading us for his 3rd safety car restart. His 2nd in the dry, and of course done 1 in the wet. So we'll see if he can maybe catch out Walter on this safety car restart, Jake.
Yes, we shall see, indeed, as you say. So I was ready to say this is his 3rd safety car restart. You stole my line. How dare you? Wow to 2nd, Gary 3rd, Car Mentalist to 4th. So we've got some Gary and Car Mentalist rivalry there, perhaps to come. Campbell worth a watch in 7th place on fresher tyres than those around him. Rocco as well. Those guys on 2-lap mediums. Chris 2-lap medium. Brent 2-lap soft. And RJ, the only man on the hards now. Verstappen has gone, and are we going to see his tiniest safety car restart as we saw last time around? He's not quite got the jump on Wouter, perhaps, that he did at the last restart, and we've got side by side there between Car Mentalist and Gary towards turn 1. Car Mentalist looking to make quick work of the Aston Martin. Gary not inclined to fight that one, but he's left himself very vulnerable to our champion Luco 5 HD, and is through. I think in turn 1 we've got a yellow flag. That is one of the Red Bulls. Farrell has died for the 50th time today, and in fact Gary, if he's not careful, he's got Rocco trying to look around the outside of turn 4, and I think that is through as well, and Campbell as well up into 6th place. Shocking restart for Gary, lining up with what I said earlier on, that he is having a shocker of a race. Pease, penalty for Luke there, uncharacteristically so. Pease is now hounding the back of his Aston Martin teammate as well, and we're barrelling round through turn 8 towards turns 9 and 10. Rocco's got a 5-second penalty for a corner cut. I'll be amazed if he doesn't end up serving that at some point in this race. And Gary, though, the big story in that restart, J. Cole, has had an absolute stinky pooper.
He certainly has. At turn 4, he had a bit of a half spin that allowed Campbell and Rocco to go straight on through, and I think that's why Rocco picked up that 5-second penalty. He must have tried to go down the inside into turn 4, must have cut that a little bit too much, and then he got straight past on Gary. So yeah, he probably have to serve that one later on in this race. But yeah, Pease is now just high in the back of his teammate Chris and Brent as well. Brent, of course, the only one on these soft compounded tyres at this moment. RJ doing a nice job on holding onto the back of this chain on those hards. He's dropped Larkin, of course, as I said, Larkin has that rear wing damage, so it's to be expected. But RJ has done a very good job of keeping up with the back of this train, and hopefully for him, he can keep that going. Rocco with another 3-second time penalty.
Oh, Gary very slow, sorry, and Pease goes around the outside. I think Gary did. Oh, has Gary got damage possibly? Did I see that? Not visibly. But yeah, Brent through on Chris as well. Sorry, J. Cole, as you will. Though Brent went very wide on the exit of turn 4, but Gary drops another place. He's lost 5 in a lap and a third.
Yeah, Gary really struggling in this race ever since that safety car restart. I wonder if he did maybe hit the back of someone or someone's hit the back of him. Might have slight rear wing damage, as it probably explains why he's sort of sliding all over the place. And maybe having a bit of a shocker on that safety car restart. I said he was already caught up by Car Mentalist just before the line on that safety car restart. So I think Car Mentalist just managed to get through at the correct point. But yeah, all really struggling. P's now actually on for a podium, despite being down in 7th position and a little bit off of the rest of those guys out in front of him.
We've got an RJ send into turn 11, possibly on the back of Chris. He spooked Chris and going a little bit deep, but couldn't make the commit to the move on the hard tyres. Larkin just watching the back of this. Larkin can be very grateful that he's managing to stay in this train, because as long as he's in the train without a penalty, he's got to sniff for something if a late safety car comes his way with that rear wing damage. I wouldn't be surprised if we've got a few drivers running with damage. We see that Larkin getting a bit out of shape through the last corner. Further up ahead, Brent is now the next one to set Gary in his sights on those soft tyres you mentioned to turn one. You got so much better drive out of the last corner. And Pease makes another costly mistake. That's not the first time we've seen Pease have a shoddy exit there. Brings Gary back into play, and I think both Aston Martins are probably carrying either damage or that's just an awful car, because the Aston looks pretty undrivable out there. Penalty for Pease as well to compound their issues, and Brent, it could make it even worse. He is really hustling the back of Gary. Farrell has died for the 51st time today, and up front, Wouter 0.2 of a second behind behind Verstappen, and Carmentlist another 0.2 of a second behind the back of Wouter. It's all brewing in this battle for the lead. And I think Wouter got a shoddy exit out of turn 10. Carmentlist on the ERS, and someone has spun that. Larkin is out of the race at turn 10. Could that be safety car number 5? It is on lap 32. Gary, QBR Gary, sort your lobby settings out, mate. We're now for another safety car period. Larkin is out. California passes Chris. Chris is actually, I think, spun possibly at turn 11. Not too sure on that one. But we've got another 2 laps to fill, J. Cole. No one comes into the pits apart from Rocco and RJ. RJ looking to get off the hard tyres. He'll probably run mediums to the end thereafter. But yes, so while we... Daka says more stoppages than an NFL game. If you're watching the stream, ask some questions or put some comments in chat so we've got something to talk about. Because, to be honest, apart from the Aston Martins being awful and Larkin dying, that was quite... not too much happened there, relatively speaking.
Yeah, no, it was relatively tame. And like you say, I think we was just sort of robbed of a battle with the top 3 there. Verstappen, Butler and Carmentis, they were all so close with each other. I thought we was going to see like a very intense battle between those 3 on that restart. But yeah, unfortunately, Larkin dropping that. I think it was inevitable that it was going to happen. He's now, of course, out 6 retirements of the session. And yeah, as I said, 5 safety cars now on lap number 32. So yeah, this is going quite fun. I think, as you say, RJ's going on a set of medium tyres. He's 5 laps on them already. So may try and go to the end, although it could be a bit of a struggle towards the end of the race. In fact, the rest of the guys that are on the mediums might even try and take those to the end of the race as well, that are around 6 laps old. Campbell being the leading one on that. California still, despite having that spin a couple of laps ago, about 5 or 6 laps ago now, before the safety car, he's still not got a penalty, and he's still one of the leading medium runners that may not actually have to pit. So he still could be on for a top 3 finish, despite all of that going on. Of course, it's the 5th safety car of this endure race. I don't think that it means we won't see another one. We can't see another one. There may be. I think we can still have virtual safety cars, but because this is the 5th safety car, I don't think we can have another safety car, period. Rocco's come back into the pits, probably to chuck on a set of the mediums to go to the end of the race. But yeah, I think it's all go, Jake. From the looks of things, it's all go. It's just who's going to be able to keep it on track. If California can keep it on track, then yeah, I think a top 3 is definitely on the cards for him. You'd expect the rest of the guys on those mediums at about sort of anywhere between 10 and 15 laps to maybe make a pit stop very soon, to go on a set of the softs, maybe lap 44, 45, I want to say. We'll see them go on to a set of the soft compact tyre. But at the moment, Verstappen, again, he's going to have to take us for a 4th safety car restart.
He is indeed, and it'll be in at the end of this lap, all being well. It should be, unless Farrell and Rocco are inclined to drive particularly slowly. I'm surprised Brent's not pitted. Brent's not going to take those softs to the end. Farrell will also, I think, struggle to take them, although he's still got 24 laps, so 25 including this one. So I think they'll have to make another stop, but probably banking on the safety car. Gary and Verstappen on 15 and 14 lap tyres respectively, and even those on 12, I think they'll be pretty second hand by the end, because of course even for Wouter, Carmentalist, Luke and Pease, they will be 36 laps old by the end of the race. So I think there's still some more strategy to come in this race. You mentioned the cabin fire safety cars. Does that only apply to 50% races, or does that extend to 100% race as well? Because if it doesn't extend to 100% race, we could see a limit of 10 safety cars, who knows.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I mean, it could be limited to 50%. I'm not too sure. I suppose there's only one way of finding out. If someone ends up bidding it again, then we will see. But yeah, of course, a full safety car restart going to be led by the Dutchman at the front of the grid in this Haas. Pretty much led almost every single lap so far in this race. He's gotten pretty darn good at safety car restart because it'll be his fourth one, goes at the exact same point, and for some reason no one seems to read it. Although saying that, Valter has not been caught napping and has had a very good safety car restart. You can see they're weaving to keep heat in their tyres, and commentated is closing up to the back of those guys on this safety car restart, and in fact a much better exit than the Williams, and he might even try and go for something in towards turn number 3. He's using that ERS, but Valter covers the inside up in towards turn number 3, means that commentators will have the inside in towards turn 4, but Valter goes nice and wide, covers that off from the AlphaTauri and keeps that position up ahead. The Williams now manages to keep that P2, but commentators losing so much time from the back.
Oh, we got a crash.
RJ going around.
We got a crash between RJ and Chris. Collision there. I don't know if there's any damage. I didn't see any end plates, but something has happened there at turn 3 to 4. Gary's got deja vu. Lost a position to Brent identical to the one to Carmentalist into turn 1, and then lost another one to California. So 2 places lost already. I think that's like 6 places lost in 2 safety car restart laps for Gary there. Verstappen briefly made a 0.6 of a second break for it. He's already been reeled back in by Wouter, Carmentalist, Luke Campbell. He is by far the slowest of this leading group, but he's got them backed up nicely. RJ has spun again at turn 12, probably with some overheated tyres. So let's have a look. Wouter gets very deep into the second to last corner, and that is going to give Carmentalist as good a run as they can. Overall, Carmentalist hits the wall there. Carmentalist, who had kept it clean all race, ploughs into the pit wall, and in all of that, look at Campbell up the inside of Luke into turn 1 for P3. Although Campbell gets very out of shape through 2 on the Astro, and Luke regains that position. Luke takes 3rd place. And that is Gary as dead at turn 1. Farrell is dead at turn 1 as well. Gary having to engage reverse. He's lost his front wing. He dropped it, I think, by himself at turn 2. And Carmentalist will be needing some new front wing as well. Gets very out of shape through turn 5. Is California looking for a move here on the back of the sister AlphaTauri car? Going to get a run past ERS engaged for California up the inside through turn 8 and towards the chicanes of 9 and 10. California safely ahead before any kind of turning point. Carmentalist looking so good for a podium finish. Kept it clean all the way through. Drops it in the last corner, and so it was that Verstappen continues to be infallible up front. He's just minding his business. He's probably the slowest of this front 5, front 6 as it was with Carmentalist in there. But doesn't matter. On the oldest tyres as well, he's just minding his own business, picking his way through it, watching everyone else make a mistake behind him. Verstappen, with no penalties, no damage, he's in a really good position here as Rocco passes Carmentalist. That's just Carmentalist coming into the pit. Brent on those softs is now having to 6th, and P's in that undrivable Aston Martin, it looks like, still running nicely in P5 as well.
We can't forget California, though. As I said, I've mentioned him a few times now this race, and we still cannot forget him. 10 laps old tyres, the same as Campbell, and he's the only one in this. Him and Verstappen, the only 2 in this top 7 without a penalty. But again, I think Verstappen has to pit again. I don't think California will have to pit again. So again, he's still in with a good shot of a potential win if he can stay within 3 seconds of Campbell with that penalty to his name. Only problem for California is that he's dropping out of that DRS from the rest of those guys out in front. Brent, of course, will have to make another pit stop, as well as Pease, as well as Luke, as well as Valter, and as well as Verstappen. Farrell has gone for a spin for now, I would say, the 55th time in this race. The Irishman is absolutely hating life, and it's not been a good day for the Irish. I think is probably the fairest thing to say. Gary not exactly having a nice time, neither is Farrell. Yeah, a lot of penalties in this race, interestingly enough as well, Jake. Only 4 people without any penalties to their name.
There is indeed. Verstappen, California, you mentioned Chris, our D3 representative, and Carmentalist, although Carmentalist is now somewhere adrift, needs a 6th safety car to get back into this one. Verstappen now is vulnerable to the DRS, although Williams has the advantage for Verstappen of not being the particularly quick in a straight line. So let's check tyres. I mean, I think these guys are going to have to pit again, or they're going to have to really limp to the end. I mean, everyone's in a similar boat with the tyres. RJ and California, Rocco, Chris, those guys are in slightly better situation. Campbell as well. But I think everyone's in a position probably of limp as far as they can get. Pease gets a 3-second penalty. That is not his first, that's his second. First in that group, though, the driver to pick up a second penalty. And California, what is the gap? 4.3 off the lead. In a good place, but needs to get in that DRS range of Brent to keep in the penalty window. Otherwise, I think Verstappen could drag them away from California. So we'll see how that evolves. 1.6 seconds the gap currently for himself and Brent. Gary picks up his fourth penalty of the day, and Pease passes Campbell there into turn 11. Good stuff from Pease, making moves. He was briefly in a podium position earlier on after, I think, the second safety car when we got first into that dry period. Now pulling his way back towards it, although, as I said, with that second 3-second penalty. So this battle now for second is really, or for the lead, I should say, is really where it's at on track. We're running out of drivers to focus on. We had 19, we're down to 13. And I think Campbell, though, has got a good exit there off turn 2. And he's going to send this on Pease around the outside into 3. Pease is going to put a squeeze on, force Campbell to take the high road. Campbell tries to cut underneath him. He'll have a higher line for 4. And that should give him a better exit through 5 towards 6. But Campbell, having to lift off through turn 5, loses some momentum. And will have to wait again for another opportunity. But J. Cole, this race is now settled into a semblance of stability, but I don't want to tempt fate too much.
Yeah, let's not say anything yet. We've still got about 20 more laps left to go of this race, but you are right, at the moment it is just sort of started to settle down ever so slightly. Gary picking up the fastest lap of this race. As I say that, Pease has come for a spin out of turn number 11. As I was literally saying, it has calmed down significantly. Pease has gone straight into the wall. Bit of front wing missing for him. Now, of course, the top 7 still all running within that train. It was the top 8, and of course, Pease now having that spin. It's now dropped down to 7 people all within that running for a potential win for tonight as well. The good thing for Rocco is that he is also probably on the strategy where he doesn't need to make another pit stop either. He's on the same strategy as California and the same as Campbell. The problem for him, though, he has got a penalty to his name, so he needs to try and get ahead of California and try and get about 3 seconds up ahead of him if he wants any chance of winning this race, which is weird to say, considering that we was talking about it in qualifying. He was about 1.1 seconds behind his teammate in qualifying, who was currently leading this race, and it could be the case that Rocco could still win this race.
I certainly could. I wouldn't dare pick a potential winner. Pease pits onto the hard tyres. I mean, it could be anything. I wouldn't put it past Carl Mentler still winning this race, to be honest with you, down in P10 right now. After that excursion at the last corner, Pease rejoins in 12th place. The two Aston Martins now running in 12th and 13th. We were used to seeing the two Red Bulls down there. The Red Bulls now in 6th and 11th. It's Aston Martin's turn to prop up the field. And let's have a look at that gap. 45 seconds off the lead for Pease, 48 for Gary. Up front, the gap is 0.7 of a second, and Wouter derating there, using all of his deploy down into below 10%. We've not put telemetry up all race. Let's have a look. 37% for Verstappen, 14 for Wouter, 62 for Luco 5HD, and 13 for Campbell. Brent's in a good position, well, 56%. Gary picks up his 5th penalty of the day, and California, your favourite man, is in a good position here because he has pulled himself back into the DRS range of Brent. But the only trouble is that Campbell, ahead of that, has fallen out of range on Luke. Penalty for Rocco, his second of the race. You said don't rule him out for a chance of victory, but that second penalty could be fatal. Although, this is the nature of Endure, J. Cole, that it's an endurance event. It's 90 minutes of concentration. This is the point of the race where fatigue and mistakes and boredom really start to creep in. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see penalties come in a little quicker now, and even some more mistakes as well.
As you were saying that, I was just riding on board with California coming through that first sector, and he has a tiny little wobble coming out of turn number 5. So, I think you're right. This is the point where we're going to start to see a lot of these guys just struggling a lot more now. I'm expecting those medium runners and those front 3 to make a pit stop soon as Pease having a spin out of turn number 2 as well. I'm expecting a few more of these guys to maybe make a pit stop probably within the next 5 laps on those front 3, especially on those medium tyres. Brent as well on 14 lap old softs. He's still running relatively nicely on those softs, but you've got to expect that the Dutchman's got to make a pit stop very, very soon to go on as I said, on a fresh set of medium tyres, or I say a fresh set, but at least a couple of laps used on the mediums, but will still be relatively fresh for himself anyway. Unfortunately for him though, it's going to drop him out of the rest of those guys. He hasn't been able to make too many inroads on those softs, so he might start to struggle towards the end of the race. And you can see already on these softs he is starting to struggle. He's almost dropped out of a second from Campbell.
Yeah, the soft tyres are going off, and California's going to need to make quick work of Brent to stay in that fight for victory. And I just did a quick calculation. If Pease comes into the pit stops, which one would presume would be the case because he's missing a front wing, that will be our 70th pit stop of the race. 7-0 we have had, and Larkin made 7 of them out of the race. Farrell's on 6. California is on 6. Both Red Bulls made 12 stops between them in this race so far. Verstappen, remarkably, only made 2 as P speeds in the pit lane. Is that going to be a retirement, possibly? Or is he going to carry on? No, he is carrying on, it seems. Now, good on Pease for sticking in the race, but he's going to be careful he doesn't get lapped, because if he gets lapped here by Verstappen, is that Farrell Fury dies for the 56th time today, and he's going to get passed here by QVR Gary. But it's going to be crucial for Pease whether he gets lapped or not, because if he does get lapped, he's not going to be allowed to unlap himself at a safety car. But he is, I think, just ahead of Verstappen. He's going to get a blue flag, but he needs to get a shift on. We use some of that ERS he's hoarding there and pull away so he doesn't get penalties for blue flag ignorance. And it keeps him in the race, although he gets off track there, out of shape, and he's not going to. He's now a lap down. Hard to believe he was in this battle. Just a handful of laps to go. He's going to let everyone go. Is Pease, but no safety car can save him now. He is firmly consigned to last place, lapped by all of our top 7. Wouter, half a second behind Verstappen, been in DRS the entire time, still can't make any indentation really on the Haas. His car mentalist passes RJ there in a lone battle for P9 between the AlphaTauri and the McLaren. Both ran so well early. RJ started third, car mentalist was running a net second at one point. They have fallen considerably, but then how was everyone at some point in this race? Is there even any point looking at the position changes? It's been up and forth all the way through. Wouter's up 9, California's up 13, 8 for Rocco, down 10 for Farrell, down 6 for RJ. Sorry, he started 4th, not 3rd. My apologies. Feels a long time ago that Farrell was leading this race, that Melty was leading this race. We've got Brent into the pits, and we've got the yellow flag. Farrell for death number 57, and I'm going to call that death number 58. He beached himself on the curb and reset to track. Farrell Fury, that is disgusting. He got beached. He should have taken the retirement and done the dignified, honourable thing. Instead he paused and reset to track. That is disgustingly scummy. But yeah, whatever it was I was saying, position changes, blah blah blah, Verstappen still leads the race.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. I wonder if they are going to be making a pit stop soon. I wonder if they're actually going to make a pit stop in general, because it's looking like that they won't. Gary's having this. Is that Gary or is that Pease?
It's Pease.
Once again, the Aston Martin. He's trying to join his Ariel compadre of Farrell Fury in the amount of spins that he has as well. As I say that, he has a massive off going through turn 6 and massive oversteer moment. He's now gone even further off into the gravel and now being lapped by 9th and 10th of Car Mentalist and RJ as well. So recently also joined Relentless of RJW. So yeah, bit interesting. Unfortunately for him, it's not looking like a good one for Relentless so far, other than Valter up in 2nd and Rocco in 6th. But yeah, at the same time, I think it's looking like Verstappen could still take this win. I don't know if they're going to pit though. I would have thought that they would still pit. There is still about 12 or 13 odd laps left to go with this race. As again, he's having yet another spin out of turn number, I think that's turn 11, I believe that is. But yeah, again, I don't know if those top 3 are actually going to make another pit stop. I would have thought that they would be, just when they're going to make a pit stop.
I have to keep switching from Verstappen to Pease just for every single Pease off that we get. There has been many on this lap alone. It's worth it, you know. For example, Rocco or Chris. There's another piece off. Rocco and Chris, who have big gaps behind them, they may as well, I think, you know, come lap. Well, yeah, we've got 14 laps to go, including this one. They're at the limit now of making a stop or not making a stop. I think they may as well just send it in. Pease retires from session in the pit lane. Rocco opens his DRS. He's going to have an attack at California, who is starting to drop off the back of this group. Brent, worth noting as well, on a fresh set of tyres. Brent's still in this. Brent's still in this race. He's made that extra stop. If anyone else ahead of him makes the stop that you alluded to might be coming, Brent is very much in a battle for a podium here if those ahead do bail on those medium tyres, but I can't see it. Chris has had a spin at between turns 13 and 14, second last, and final corners, and that is going to hand Brent 7th place on a platter, and Chris drops it again. Those tyres are scorched, and he does get it going again. We have to be very gentle on the throttle through turns 1 and 2. Carmentalist and RJ are going to make a move, are they? No, RJ's too far back to have a look at Chris, but Chris might still be suffering with those tyres through turns 1 and turn 2, or has he just about got that Alfa Romeo in the right direction? He has indeed. So RJ stays in 10th, Chris down to 9th. Yeah, oh, and that's Luke passing Wouter for P2. Luke is through. Luke's on a charge, and he's going to have an attack on Verstappen now, possibly.
Last season's reigning champion of the Endure, Luke. He's looking to try and start off strong once again. As I said, I wonder if they are going to make a final pit stop. At the moment, it's looking like they won't. They might have, if they do, surely it'll be sometime this lap or next lap that we'll see these medium runners come in. But at the moment, it's looking like there isn't going to be another stop for the rest of these guys. I thought California would still be on for a decent result. He is still technically on for a good result. He will only jump up ahead of Campbell, however, if those guys do not opt to make a stop. So, yeah, I think Campbell's probably hoping that the rest of these guys will also make another stop. Unfortunately, it doesn't look as if they will. And I saw Campbell earlier on as well have a little bit of an oversteer moment. So I wonder if these medium tyres are going to start to go off very soon. 27 laps for our race leader, as Luke actually has a bit of an oversteer moment out of turn 3. Almost, in fact, it's actually dropped him out of DRS from our race leader, and it's now going to allow Wouter to try and go on the attack on Luke. Luke's surely got to use a bit of his DRS to try and get back within that 1 second of our race leader. And yeah, you can see he's starting to burn that off a bit more, but Verstappen reads it and is also trying to burn off that bit more to keep him out of that 1 second, to let him be vulnerable to the rest of, well, to Vowler and to Campbell. Hopefully, because I'd like to see it for California to try and catch up to the rest of those guys, but at the moment it's just looking like he's going to be sort of finishing in 5th position, or potentially 4th if he can stay within 3 seconds of Campbell. But again, with that DRS chain, it could be inevitable. There's a spinner. That
is California. No, it's not California, it's Farrell a lap down. I panicked then. I think Rocco made a mistake there because he was right on the back of California and into turn 11, and now is 1.3 seconds off the Red Bull. Luckily, California's still in it and holding the gap fairly stable, only losing out in the DRS zones for now. Luke doesn't seem to be any more of a threat to Verstappen, has to be said, than Wouter looked. But we are sort of edging towards the end of the race now. Farrell is in for pit stop number, whatever it is, 73 of this race. We're sort of petering out towards the end of this race. I thought someone might throw a set of softs on and try and get to the end, but I suppose it's too big a risk. I'm going to do a very naughty thing here. I'm going to do a race director and look at how Verstappen's times have dropped off. So this earlier on, start of this stint, he was doing 23s. Yeah, his pace hasn't changed. 22.8 on lap 24 for Verstappen, a 22.8 on lap 47 for Verstappen. So the tyres haven't fallen off in terms of pace. They will have fallen off in terms of performance, because that will, of course, the loss of performance in the tyre will have been compensated for by the dropping fuel, because, of course, with carrying up to 100 kilos of fuel around, as you burn that off, it does improve the lap times, but then the tyre drops off, so you get this trade-off between the fuel and the tyre. Luke within almost within half a second. But that, I have to say, that Haas must be running some very skinny rear wings. I don't know what you think, Jack, because it seems like an absolute menace in a straight line.
It certainly is, and I'll tell you there's a bit of an interesting one as well. The Williams has been dropped out of Luke's DRS, so Valtteri hasn't actually got DRS to those top two anymore. So he could be a little bit vulnerable to his teammate. We could see Campbell get a move done on his teammate. There is still a chance that California can finish on the podium. I'm still rooting for it, but there is still that chance that we could see the two Williams battling it out with each other. Again, I think you're right. I think we're not going to see another pit stop with those at least with the top six. Then picks up yet another 3-second time penalty, and it could allow commentated towards the end of this race to get within, I think he's got 9 seconds of penalty, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, 6 seconds of penalties. When those softs start to go off, we might see those hards come a bit
Campbell.
into fruition, maybe in the last 2 laps. Campbell, I think, is going to get this move done on Valtteri.
Wow, lets him go.
And now up into 3rd position. And I think it's now going to be on Campbell to try and chase down those other 2 boys.
Yeah, I think that was calculated from the Williams lads. I think Wouter decided to let Campbell go. He lifted off on the exit of 11. And Campbell, with 5 lap fresher tyres than Luke, 7 lap fresher tyres, and his QVR compatriot Verstappen, is now in a prime position to try and reel these guys in if he can sneak back into the DRS zone. Because Luke isn't any quicker than Verstappen for sure. It was half a second last lap. Still half a second this lap. The DRS zones do absolutely nothing other than helping Luke stay in touching distance of the Haas if he makes a mistake. But one of those has not been forthcoming. We've got less than 9 laps to go now in this race, and it still seems very much the way of Verstappen. Let's see if Campbell, though, can close up through the twistier sections of the track in the 1st and 3rd sectors, if he can get in that DRS. And if he can, who knows if he can try and make a move on the back of the Alpine. We've not seen Campbell run at the front of this group really at all. We've seen Luke and Wouter trade places, but we haven't seen Campbell run close to Verstappen really all race apart from the start, before Campbell ended up plummeting down the field. I can't remember what it was that happened to Campbell that pushed him down to 14th place, but it was something or other. So much has happened in this race. It's been full of incident and drama, and Campbell is very much now in the DRS range. He's in 7/10 of a second, and now canny J. Cole, with 8 laps to go as we cross the line, launch an assault, first on Luke and then on Verstappen.
Well, we shall wait and see. Luke is so much closer to Verstappen now through that final corner. I think Verstappen went a little bit wide out of the final corner. 25% ERS for the Haas and double that for the Alpine behind him. I think we might see a lead change probably within the next couple of laps here, Jake. I think Luke is looking a lot quicker now than Verstappen, and I wonder if this is where those medium tyres are starting to go off a lot more, where Verstappen is trying to hold it out. You can just see how much slower he is coming through these corners. It's allowing Campbell, I mean, look at Campbell, he's now only within half a second of Luke out in front of him, because Luke is having to back off a little bit more to avoid going into the back of Verstappen. So I think I think Verstappen's tyres, I think they're definitely starting to go off. California now picks up that 3-second time penalty, which I was hoping would not happen, but he's now picked it up. So that's a podium out of the window for himself. Still 5th place is not a bad finishing position whatsoever, considering where he started, where he got disqualified in qualifying. But still finishing in 5th place. I thought he'd at least maybe get himself on that podium. Just very unfortunate for him. Now picking up the 3-second time penalty, he's might got to try and catch up to the rest of those guys out in front of him.
And it is closing up between those. 1.6 seconds covers the top 4. Less than a second covers the top 3. And California Rocco are still in a good position to capitalise if some mistakes happen ahead of them. 7 laps to go now. Luke still within 4 tenths of a second towards turn 1, as close as he was last lap, perhaps even a shade closer. But he doesn't have the the straight line advantage to capitalise on his use of DRS. In fact, he got a bit out of shape through turn 2. Campbell was the one that looked more likely to strike there than Luke, and but the DRS train is neutralising everything. Well, more so than that, Verstappen's straight line speed is neutralising everything, because it's like he's got DRS himself. It's a DRS train, whereas we've got almost... Oh dear, my laptop just fell off my bed. where we've got DRS for our race leader. 0.3 per second is the gap. I wonder if Verstappen made a little mistake there through turn 6. I hope my laptop's not broken, but that's a £1,000 stressful after the stream's ended. Here comes Luke towards turns 9 and 10. Looked a little more composed there, did the Haas. DRS open. Is he going to use any ERS? No, he's not. He's going to wait for the main straight. He's gaining so much now on Verstappen that he's got the slipstream that comes with being within half a second. But he's going to have to be aggressive and make a move at some point of Luke, because he's running out of time to try and get that 3-second gap when he makes any overtake. If he doesn't make an overtake, Verstappen deep into turn 13. This is Luke's best, perhaps his only chance between now and the end of the race. His ERS is on. He's got his DRS open. He's got to make the move now, surely. He pulls to the inside of Verstappen, and he is ahead into turn 1, into the braking zone, is he? Yes, he's through. Can he hold it through turn 2? Or is Verstappen going to fight back with those wings? DRS still with Luke. Of course, it's a single detection point for the 2 zones. Is Verstappen going to have a go into turn 3? No, he's not. He's going to try and hold on to the back of the Alpine. But now, J. Cole, it's crucial. We've got 6 laps left. Luke needs to make the most of his fresher tyres, even if it's only 2 laps, and run away. He's already found 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, Verstappen is really struggling. Again, I've just got his stream up as well, and he's not showing his tyres. However, I can see that little orange symbol, which indicates he is at least over 60% on his tyre wear. So yeah, Verstappen really struggling now on his medium compound tyre, and I think, well, there's a slight chance if he gets out of DRS from Luke, or if Luke gets the DRS away from the Haas driver, then we could see Luke potentially take this win in the first race of Endure Season 2. Verstappen, you can see that red light flashing on the back of his car from Campbell's car as well. So yeah, I think Campbell is starting to realise that his tyres are going to be a lot better nicked than what the Haas's are in front as well. California and Rocco have now joined the party, so it's now a 6-car fight for this race win, and we've got 5 laps left to go, Jake.
We have got 5 laps left to go. Sorry, I was just taking a quick drink. Luke is quicker than Verstappen, but Verstappen's DRS hack wings are doing the Alpine no favours in his attempts to get away. He's keeping that Alpine in check. That's all he needs to do. Avoid a penalty, keep him in DRS range, and he has won this race. You mentioned California and Rocco joined the party. 2.8 seconds. We have 54 laps. Each lap a solid 83, 84 seconds, and yet we've got only 2.8 of them covering our top 6 here. And Brent's not too far behind either. He's within 10 seconds of the lead of this race. And I wonder if he'd gone for some mediums early on rather than some softs, he could even be in the fight for victory. As it is, it's Luke versus Verstappen. Campbell is hounding the back of that Haas, who has now used all of his ERS, red light blinking away. Can Campbell try and make a move on Verstappen here? He's gaining towards turn 11. It'd have to be a very late and bold send to catch Verstappen out there, and Verstappen has a squirm on the traction there, and in the background you saw Rocco having a look at the back of California as well. It's going to be 4 laps to go at the end of this one, and still Verstappen is doing what he needs to do, but he's very vulnerable to Campbell. And speaking of vulnerable, Wouter has a big slide out of the last corner. That's going to put California right on the rear end of the second Williams driver in this race, although California is a little deep into one further up ahead. Campbell assessing his options to try and make a move on Verstappen, but Verstappen's straight line speed, coupled with the fact Campbell has no ERS to use, coupled with the fact Verstappen is still getting DRS to the back of Luke, there's very little it looks like the Scotsman can do here.
Yeah, I don't think Campbell's going to be able to get a sort of move done. I don't even think Luke's going to be able to get 3 seconds away from Verstappen unless Verstappen does pick himself up a puncture. And at the moment, it could be going that way. Verstappen now really struggling to try and keep to grips with these tyres. 35 laps on these medium compounded tyre. He pit under I believe it was the 3rd safety car, and has not hit since. And it's really starting to show how much he is struggling with just getting the drive out of these corners. A little bit further behind though, Rocco and California still closing up to the back of Valter to try and at least claim P4. Of course, Rocco has 2 sets of penalties, so he's not going to be able to get the jump on either of these guys unless they pick up yet another penalty. But it's between Valter and California for this 4th place finish, and California going very deep in towards the second to last corner, try to allow Rocco to get the run on him, but unfortunately had to back off of that one. Now are we going to see the Red Bull try and go for a move a little bit further up in front though? Campbell, Verstappen, they're so close to the back of Luke. Luke's now starting to struggle on these medium compounder tyre, but you can see Verstappen's not even using his DRS. He's in fact going to get overtaken by Campbell. Campbell now goes up into 2nd position. I think Verstappen was a bit of a planned one. Just didn't want to try and fight Campbell, sorry. Otherwise, it's just going to cost him time to Luke. So just rather stay behind him, make sure he sticks within the DRS, make sure he stays within 30 seconds of that Alpine. Verstappen now down into 3rd, still 1st provisionally because of no penalty. But yeah, Verstappen, again, he is so close to puncture territory. He's just got to hope his tyres last another 3 more laps.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think Verstappen wasn't within a second of Luke at the DRS line, and then Luke made a mistake the last corner because they closed up very, very suddenly. Speaking of closing up, Campbell is going to make a move for the lead of this race, possibly. He's got a big straight line advantage over Luke towards turn 11 straight. Just runs out on him, and Luke struggling to get the car turned into turn 11. Also getting this car struggle turned into turn 11 is Wouter, because California is passed into P4. Seemed unthinkable after qualifying, but California having a sterling race there and fighting it out amongst the Endure champion, the Division 2 leader, and the D1 big boys there in the top 6, and he's well on course for a good result. It could have been even better if he hadn't have picked up that penalty. Whereas Campbell, 2 laps to go now, he's trying to make a move for what will be 2nd place on Luke. Luke has still got some ERS to use. Campbell less so, down on 11% at the end of that straight. Luke Holt lives to fight another day as Wouter is now passed again. Wouter's tyres 35 laps old, same as Luke. Only a touch fresher than Verstappen, and those tyres are really crying right now, I think. Luke, Verstappen and Wouter all really struggling compared to Campbell and California and Rocco, who have a slight advantage. Campbell so close on the run towards turns 9 and 10. Can he get the move done into the fast left right? He's got no ERS to use. He's rely on slipstream only, but he'll have a dose of DRS at the exit of turn 10. He's just got to keep it together through here. Has to have a couple of bites turning into turn 9, then cuts turn 10. He makes the most of it though. He's got a good run on Luke towards turn 11. Can he make the move this lap where he couldn't last lap? Once again he has to settle for 2nd place. He can't make the move, and this is good stuff for Luke. He's on course for a very, very solid P2 to open his championship defence, J. Cole.
Yeah, it certainly is. So Luke now coming on to the final lap of this race. Of course, we're now just got 1 more lap to go of this absolute chaotic race, and my game has actually just crashed, interestingly enough. So, yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get back in towards the end of that. But, yeah, I mean, again, Luke's going to try and hold on. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it, though, from Campbell, because Campbell is so close to the back of him.
Well, you say that. Let's have a look at Campbell towards turn 3 now. He's got such a run on Luke. Luke shapes to the left-hand side of the track, moves just about late enough for it to be fair. Probably Campbell feeling a little bit aggrieved. He thought that might have felt that move was too late from the Alpine, and it's going to be Luke who leads through turn 6. 2 more opportunities to go now for Campbell. 1 into turn 9, 1 into turn 11, but Verstappen, still within DRS range on the back of Campbell, is well placed to take victory here with just half a lap to go now. Campbell, 0.3 of a second is the gap. Behind him, California's still got to fend off Rocco. Wouter's tyres are falling off an absolute cliff. He could get overtaken by Brent here on the last lap of this race. And Luke gets very deep into turn 9. This is Campbell's chance. He pushes the Alpine round turn 10. And he has to lift off on the exit. That's going to save Luke's bacon into the braking zone of turn 11. He fends off. And this has been an admirable defence from Luke off the back of Campbell, and just in keeping with this race so far, Farrell has another token death at turn 6, living up to expectations there. But it's going to be Luco 5HD who kicks off his championship defence with a win on track. He's going to finish 2nd overall though, because QVR Verstappen takes victory through a chaotic and crazy race. Luke and Campbell fill out the podium. California, from disqualification in qualifying, takes 4th. Wouter ends up in 5th. Rocco made a good climb as well to 6th place. Brent is 7th. Car Mentalist will be 8th. RJ has sunk to 9th place after being with Car Mentalist for much of that race. 4th on the grid for him it was in the end, down to 9th. Chris takes 10th. Gary and Farrell, our resident clowns, are going to come 11th and 12th. And is going to be a lap down for Farrell, a minute down for Gary. Let's have a look at Gary with 18 seconds of penalties. That, I have to say, J. Cole, that Aston Martin has looked an absolute dog to drive today, and I feel sorry for whoever's driving it for the rest of the season to come, because Pease was a struggle as well. He, Larkin, Tymon, Melty, who led the race, Nathan, Jay Hings and Harry Noir all failing to finish in the end. But it's Verstappen who takes top billing with victory in round 1 of Endure Season 2.
I think the interesting thing as well is that I don't think he was even supposed to race today. I think there just wasn't enough reserves that had said yeah to race. So he wasn't. I think he only got called up today to race. And I mean, fair play to him in that Haas as well, taking the win. Again, he did this last season. Only one that took a win in the Haas as well. He's done it again today. So I think Verstappen is starting to quite like this Haas, to be honest with you. But yeah, a valiant effort from Luke, from Campbell, from California, all close. I'm still disappointed that California picked up that penalty late on in that race, but I suppose it is what it is. Verstappen, to be honest with you, he fully deserves it. So close to puncture, but managed to hold on in the end.
He did indeed, and he takes the lead of the championship with it. 58 points for everyone who finished, all 13 of them. And through 5 safety cars as well. So Verstappen is our race winner from pole position as well. I think the only man to finish where he started in the end. With only 2 stops as well. Luke finishes second. Campbell completes the podium. Couldn't make that last lap overtake in the end. California 4th. Wouter is 5th. Rocco 6th. Brent 7th. Carmel is 8th. RJ 9th. Chris 10th. Gary finishes 11th. Farrell 12th, 12 finishes, not 13 in the end. Pease 13th, Larkin 14th, Tymon 15th, Melty 16th. Looking imperious earlier on. Jay Hings was 18th after retiring on the first lap, and Harry Noir disqualified as well. He takes 19th place. So, let's have a look. I need to check the calendar for our little outro to say where we're going next, because I'm not a prepared commentator at all. We're heading to Silverstone. Silverstone on the 14th of September. The stream has headed on for over 2 hours, so we are going to wrap it up there. Thank you, J. Cole, for joining me, and I'm sure you don't regret it, because it was an absolutely bonkers race from start to finish. 5 safety cars, 6 DNFs. God knows how many changes of position up front, and a slightly chaotic tyre strategy at the end that nearly didn't come off for our race winner. But there we are. Silverstone in 3 weeks' time. I've no idea who will be in the commentary box. It won't be me, I'm afraid to say. But Verstappen heads there with the championship lead, and Luke well placed to launch a challenge to defend his title. Thank you for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to J. Cole for being with me. Until next time, tune in to LOE Division 1 and Division 3 at 6:30 PM on Saturday with myself and James Head, Jess Gamer and Evil in the commentary box for D3. And D2 and D4 with the delightful J. Cole and QVR Verstappen for D2, and QVR Packer. Well, not QVR Packer, actually. I'm not sure who's commentating D4. But tune into those at 6:30 and 8:10 British summertime. Till then, thank you for tuning in. Fare thee well.